Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chase Oliver talking some NBA. I know, I can't believe it. I'm actually doing other things besides professional wrestling here on this channel. I mean, it's a miracle that I'm able to find time to do this. But wrestling, I talk about it a lot. I go on the Team Heel podcast. I go on OK Fade's channel. I mean, it's a miracle. I got to take a break from wrestling for a little bit. I gotta do some other stuff. So I decided, you know what, NBA, it's always exciting. It's always exciting when it's the draft. It's always exciting for free agency because you can just talk your head off about a lot of different things. So that's what we're doing here live here on YouTube. Is we're here going to recap a little bit of the NBA draft. Look, we're not going pick by pick. Generic Minority and I are not going pick by pick in this NBA draft. We just aren't. We're just going to talk about big things that stood out to us. We're going to recap the NBA 2016 draft, which happened last week. Don't expect grades or anything like that from us. We're just going to say what we thought about the picks when it happened and all that other stuff. And then also when it comes down to it, we're also going to be talking about the free agency. Free agency is hitting a lot of big news, especially around one Kevin Durant. So that's going to be the main talking point, as well with other free agents that are going on in the world. But enough of me talking. It's time to hear my guests. My co-host, I should say, actually, not a guest, my co-host, Generic Minority talk. Generic Minority, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. As you can see, I'm just sitting in a blank white room because I've officially gone insane trying to keep up with everything going on in the NBA. Kevin Durant's got, 7 different teams lined up that he's going to go talk to.
Could be a possible setup. New York Knicks are pushing. Your New York Knicks are pushing, Generic Minority, for a meeting with one Kevin Durant.
I want them to push harder, and I want them to push so hard they fire Phil Jackson and stop paying him 6 times the amount you would normally pay a president. Like, if Pat Riley doesn't make that much money, I don't want anyone else making that much money. That guy has proven that he knows how to run a team. Phil Jackson has not. So, with that being said, I want the Knicks to push to get Kevin Durant because that means it's not as hard a push to get Westbrook next season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you guys have D-Rose. Well, why do you guys need Westbrook when you have the?
Why do we need D-Rose? The guy with what would they say in the NBA 2K story mode when he was the best player until his knee blew up like a Chinese firecracker? Yeah,
that's what they said. But anyways, we're here to talk about the NBA draft just for a little bit. I'll be honest here that this NBA draft, I wasn't knowledgeable with a lot of the European players. I knew a lot about the college players going in to this draft. I knew a little bit about some European players. I just wasn't expecting the European players to dominate this draft. So as much as I would like to tell you guys, oh, you guys got some great talent, I can't tell you that. I can't literally sit here and for most of your teams, sit here and go, you guys got someone there. So sorry for all you guys who drafted European players. We're not going to go there, okay? Just know you guys are either drafting and stashing these schools, or these guys will end up just doing nothing for your team. And this draft class in general, it's a weak class. The 2016 NBA draft was nothing like the 2015 NBA draft or the 2014 NBA draft, to be honest with you. It was kind of similar to the 2013 draft, except they had 2 talents where you're like, for sure, like a lot of media experts were saying for sure they're going to do good in the league. And then you had 3 other talents where it's kind of like question mark, like they're going to be good, but we don't know how they're going to be good type of deal. So I guess a little bit better than the 2013 draft class, but still at the end of the day, just not a really good draft overall. It's just kind of like draft and stashing and type of stuff like that. So anyways, with the 2016 NBA draft, things went how predicted for the first 2 picks. Ben Simmons was picked number 1 overall. Went to the Philadelphia 76ers. Brandon Ingram was picked number 2, going to the Los Angeles Lakers. I think both of these picks are the correct picks. The Sixers made the right move getting Ben Simmons. Look, do I think Ben Simmons was the best player in this draft? No, I didn't think Ben Simmons was the best player in this draft. I know already people are going to thumbs down the video, watching this on the playback, saying, like, how dare you not think Ben Simmons was the best player in this draft? Look, I get it. I see the potential there. I see what he can become. But the thing is, in today's world, especially with sports, people always expect results now. And when this guy was being compared to, for whatever reason, to LeBron James and saying that, oh, he's the next LeBron. Look, just because he's a big man that can pass, I'm not going to compare him to LeBron. He was more comparable to Lamar Odom for me than LeBron James. And really, to be honest, I had Ben Simmons ranked third out of all the prospects in this draft. And I think the Sixers, they got a good pick in him. I think he's going to do well for the team. I think he fits with what the 76ers want to do. He has to be their point guard pretty much. And like, if you want him to succeed, you have to get a point guard that can shoot threes. They have a couple of those. I think Ish Smith can shoot some three balls. I don't think he's really that good at 3-point percentage. And then Brandon Ingram for the Los Angeles Lakers, I think was a very good pickup. I think he fits with what Luke Walton wants to do with that offense. He's going to try to Golden State it up over there in LA, spread the ball around. Size, yeah, that's an issue. But really, to be honest, it's an issue that he can fix. Other than that, I think he's the polished player. I actually had Ingram as my second or first best player in the draft, depending on, who you look at, like depending on what you feel is important. Because I in today's NBA, I feel point guards and shooting guards are the most important positions compared to the years past. I feel like if you have a good point guard shooting guard combination and you can build around that, you're going to be set. And so that's why for me, it's just that point guards and shooting guards just have a little bit more value when it comes down to the NBA, especially for me in today's world. But I felt both of these picks were correct. What did you think about Brandon Ingram and Ben Simmons picks right there, pick number 1 and 2? Did you feel like they were the right picks, or do you think other people should have gone number 1 and number 2?
I don't think anyone else should have gone number 1 and number 2. I just think that they should have been swapped. I think Ben Simmons should have went to the Lakers, and reports were saying that he wanted to go to the Lakers. I think that they need him. They need someone like him in the Lakers because they don't really have a big guy like him. You have what's that boy's name? Brandon Bass, and he's like, he's not really like a player how he used to be, how people thought he was going to be. What's this old tall boy from the Pacers that's pretty much useless now? Roy Hibbert is not playing like I think the Lakers actually could have used a big guy. Like it actually makes more sense to me that the 76ers would want to kind of get the ball spread out more because they're a young, like athletic team, and a lot of the guys can shoot. So I honestly would have swapped it. Like Ben Simmons can't really. This is gonna sound like I'm being like a jerk or whatever, or I'm underestimating him. But I don't think he can shoot well enough for their team. Like, yeah, he can go and get in the paint and all that, and he's a big dude and whatnot, but he's not like a bully or anything like that neither. He's just some kid in the league now. We have to kind of see how his first year develops, but I don't think he's no LeBron James, obviously. He's not going to running down and just dunking on people or laying it up and things like that. It's just like he's just a big guy that's just kind of there, and he can kind of shoot, and he can kind of do a lot of things, but I think Brandon Ingram, they should have took him first instead. If you were looking for a guy that's proficient at one thing or pretty good at one thing, as opposed to a guy who's okay at a lot of things, they should have went the other way around. But other than that, for the most part, I actually don't. It doesn't change anything with the way they picked. I think it just probably would have been better for them in the long run. But you also, of course, because it's the draft, you have to see how they develop. So
yeah,
no qualm.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to wait and see. Other major picks that happened. So at number 3, Boston selected Jaylen Brown out of Cal. Obviously, Boston was trying to make a big trade, whether it was for Boogie, whether it was for Jimmy Butler. I don't know why any team would trade for Jimmy Butler. I know everyone's going to be like, Chase, you think Jimmy Butler sucks? No, Jimmy Butler is a good basketball player. He's just a locker room cancer. Jimmy Butler literally destroyed that Bulls locker room once he became a superstar for the Chicago Bulls. Why would you want this guy in your locker room? He's not a good locker room leader. I mean, he traded away the old locker room leader in Derrick Rose, okay? So just saying, I mean, he broke apart that team, the Chicago Bulls. He's a great player all you want, but he's not a good locker room leader. And you already have combustible elements in Isaiah Thomas, like, who's fun to watch, good player, but, Isaiah Thomas is the locker room leader, and then you want to bring Jimmy Butler there, and Brad Stevens seems to have a good thing going. Why ruin it? And they selected Jaylen Brown, and I know a lot of people were very, very disappointed with this pick, saying, oh, Ainge couldn't get it. Ainge couldn't get Jimmy Butler. Ainge couldn't get DeMarcus Cousins. We had all these draft picks, and we couldn't get anything with them. But I think you guys got a productive player in the future in Jaylen Brown. I think he's a bigger upgrade in the future over Jay Crowder at the small forward position. I actually like Jaylen Brown a lot. I had Jaylen Brown ranked highly. If you guys asked me what I thought about Jaylen Brown, like, yeah, the shooting's not there. His overall shooting is not there, but just his size, the fact that he already has that huge NBA size. He looks like he's already a 25-year-old male, and he has a mature body already at his age. Developing a jump shot, I don't think is going to be hard for Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown, if he can start hitting consistently from 2, I think that's what you want from the Celtics. I mean, really, to be honest, you already have enough guys that can spread the floor on your team. You need more guys that can go into the rim and bully some of these wings in the Eastern Conference. You got to bully some of these wings, and you need someone that is a little bit more lengthier than a lot of your players, and I think Jaylen Brown fits that mold. So I know Celtic fans are upset that they didn't get Jimmy Butler, who would have just ruined your locker room and pretty much tried to destroy it because he's a locker room cancer. He's a great player. Doesn't mean you can't be a locker room cancer. You should be happy that you got Jaylen Brown, because I guarantee you, all these Celtic fans who hate on Jaylen Brown now, y'all going to like him. I am high on Jaylen Brown. You guys can go back to this video of Jaylen Brown bust out and say, DX suck it, Chase. Jaylen Brown sucks. Or you can come back and praise me when Jaylen Brown does well in the NBA. I think he's going to be I'm not saying he's an all-star. I'm not saying Jaylen Brown's going to be an all-star. I think he's just going to be a good player for you guys. I think he's going to be a very productive player for you in the future. Not now. Not next year. But give him his third year. Third year for Jaylen Brown, he's going to be productive for you guys. And I think you guys are going to do well. Unless you stupidly trade him away, which with the Celtics, I wouldn't be surprised. What are your thoughts about the Celtics? Do you know anything about Jaylen Brown at all from Cal?
No, not much. But I like like you said, I like the look of him overall as a player. You kind of like, I don't know if he necessarily has the actual maturity on court, but he kind of reminds me of, just because he's big enough, even though he's young, kind of like DeMarcus Cousins, where it's like he's a big dude, and you can clearly see he's like, all right, so this guy can do something. Let's just see what happens. Granted, DeMarcus is like kind of immature out on the court, but that's through with time. We'll see how Jaylen turns out. So I like it, and they needed a small forward. There's only really there aren't many teams where I could see Jaylen going to. Honestly, the first 2 teams pick small forwards, but there's like not a place for a small forward like him on the other teams, because he's not eye-catching either like Ben Simmons. Everyone's hype on Ben Simmons, so it's like he fortunately didn't fall to the wayside, because I didn't know who this guy was, and I was like, well, he's probably just going to go to whoever, probably like Phoenix, something like that, because they only have like Chase Buttinger or whatever. And I don't know who their other small forward is, so I was like, maybe he'll go there. Of course, the Sun surprised me, but it's good for him. Like everything you just said, I agree 110% with. It's a great move for the Boston Celtics, so long as they don't trade him away. Just give the kid a chance to shine. When his contract runs, you can decide to let him go or keep him.
Yeah, and it also gives you an opportunity to trade Jay Crowder away. Like, I like Jay Crowder. I think he's a good hustle player in the NBA, but it's just like he has some worth being that hustle player for, a playoff team. You are a playoff team yourself, Celtics, but you can get much better shooters for Jay Crowder, and maybe Jaylen Brown turns out well. So I think Jaylen Brown was a good pick. Phoenix got 2 really interesting picks. So Phoenix at number 4 took Dragan Bender, same position same draft selection as Kristaps Porzingis last year. Porzingis was chosen at number 4. Dragan Bender now at number 4. And then afterwards, the Sacramento Kings were like, we don't want the 8th pick. What this shit?
Who's this
They
kid?
traded away. At first, I thought the Kings traded for Brandon Knight. I was like, oh, the Kings are smart. If they traded with the Suns, they probably got Brandon Knight, because Brandon Knight may be on the move soon. Brandon Knight, the Phoenix's little guard connection did not work out. Their Kentucky connection did not work out for them, and everything like that. And so they're looking to trade Brandon Knight because Devin Booker has developed into such a really good 2 for them. They're looking to move Brandon Knight away. And I thought they got Brandon Knight, the Kings. I'm like, oh, this was not a bad move. No, the Kings got nothing. They got 0. They got zilch. They got just extra draft picks who they just drafted a bunch of loser centers with and stuff like that. So, DeMarcus Cousins says, please save me and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lord give me strength. So
yeah, Lord give me.
You gotta feel for, in this situation, I feel for the Kings and DeMarcus Cousins, but you gotta be like, what was the point of picking Dragan Bender if you were just gonna get this dude? Like, you could have just as easily drafted this dude, and I don't know anything about.
I like what the Suns did because they loved Dragan Bender and they loved Marquise Chris. Those were the 2 guys they wanted in the draft, and they got them for not that very much.
For nothing.
Yeah. they were able to keep Brandon Knight, so which means you can trade Brandon Knight for a better player along the way during the offseason. Like before the season starts, you can trade Brandon Knight, or during the season, you can trade him for a much better player in the future. That's why I think the Suns did good, because they were able to just give the Kings the rest of their picks because they didn't need those picks. They weren't interested in anyone else in this draft. The only two guys they wanted were Marquise Chris and Dragan Bender, and they got both of them.
Yeah. I can rock with that idea. I still feel for the Kings though, because I think they traded him with the intention of possibly grabbing someone that they wanted, and then that person got caught. Like I don't know who they were looking at, but I'm assuming that person got drafted, and then they were like, well, now we're out of luck because we didn't even get anybody for him. So, but I mean, Suns come out looking better, so good for them. Kings come out looking stupid and making DeMarcus Cousins want to leave. I don't know how many years he's got left on his contract.
Yes, I think 2 more years left with that organization.
Oh, Lord, give him strength.
Lord, give him strength. The Boogie. The Kings are like my friend James Carter TV said it best, man. If I was a Kings fan, I would have given up already. I would have given up if I'm a Kings fan, man.
You call it like the K's, like the Knicks fans, the Kings fans, like we have to call it pretty much after this draft. All right, you know what? Well, this next year, guys. Let's rally up next year.
Yeah, exactly. Next year for the Kings. Next year. They'll get a draft pick eventually, right?
Yeah. Don't just trade the guy away. They at least could have got something for him. Like I looked at the note. It was like, Marquise Chris traded to the Phoenix Suns. I'm like, and when you said what they got, and I was like, well, I mean, you guys can't be messing around with stuff like that. You guys got a guy coming up in the free agency. You want a point guard. What are you doing? But I don't know. Maybe they're banking on, picking up a guy in free agency, I guess. I guess.
I don't know what free agent point guard they're looking at, because I don't think Mike Conley is going to go to them. We'll talk about Conley a little bit later on in this video. Don't forget, guys, this is not just a draft recap video. This is also talking about free agency, which kicks off at midnight, 12 a.m. In about little 4 hours from now. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's 2 for me. So,
and don't be surprised with all this money that's going to be thrown around. Anyways, back to the NBA draft. So the Phoenix Suns look good. Minnesota got Chris Dunn with the 5th overall pick, which I was a big fan of. Chris Dunn, I felt, was one of the best players in this draft. So happy we got a legit point guard. Goodbye, Ricky Rubio. I'm not going to miss you. You were cool for 2 years, and then once you did not improve on your jump shot, it was all over from there. Because that was the thing with Rubio. He's a great playmaker, but once he gets that jump shot, man, he's gonna take that next level. That's when the Timberwolves are going to take the next level. And Rubio was good with the Timberwolves. No, don't get me wrong. We play better when he's on the court, but we just got a more athletic Ricky Rubio and Chris Dunn, and someone that can actually score and not just do crazy passes all over the place. So I'm happy with the selection of Chris Dunn. Reportedly, Chicago was trying to get the number 5 pick, but this was before Chris Dunn was slipping. People don't like to report that, but Minnesota was looking to deal the 5th pick and Ricky Rubio to the Chicago Bulls for Jimmy Butler. And then the Wolves pulled out of the trade talks after they realized Chris Dunn was slipping. And then Chicago answered back and said they wanted the 5th pick and Zach LaVine for Jimmy Butler. And if you're the Timberwolves, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, why didn't the Timberwolves take that trade? You could have gotten Jimmy Butler. Okay, so we're going to keep Rubio at point guard, even though he wants to be traded if we don't make the playoffs this year. Thibodeau would have made that trade if he really, really loved Jimmy Butler all that much. Don't forget, Thibodeau coached Jimmy Butler. Thibodeau made Jimmy Butler into the player he is today. If he knew that he could just give up Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn for Jimmy Butler, he would have done it. But instead, he kept Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn because he believes that these guys are going to produce better than Jimmy Butler right now. Look, Jimmy Butler, he's good. He's great. Awesome. But you're not going to give up a guy like Zach LaVine for him. No, Zach LaVine has such a high ceiling where you just don't know where he's going to hit. You want to keep that on your roster as long as you can. You're not going to give up Zach LaVine for Jimmy Butler. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
I agree.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And especially Chris Dunn, too. That's just that's not a fair trade. That's not a fair trade for the Timberwolves.
No, It's not. You guys want somebody athletic like Zach LaVine on a team. You lose a valuable component to the team, especially in the end. You know, you guys got the Bounce Brothers out there, man. I love watching Minnesota. Apart from watching Ricky Rubio miss shots, but it, that's not a good. I don't understand what people's like ideals of this Jimmy Butler being so good. He's worth trading off these all of your potential, because he's kind of at the point where this is pretty much the player he's going to be. I don't see him having some great, like, he proved this season that he's a great player, or a good player, at least a really good player. But like, this is it. He'll be this type of player for a fair amount of time. He may hit a second gear, but the Minnesota Timberwolves are smart for now, or at least lucky that they got Chris Dunn and didn't wind up with Jimmy Butler. So good move for it on their part. They needed another point guard, and now Ricky Rubio is a good trade bait. There are plenty of teams that have probably want him.
And then afterwards, the next two picks were two good players who I really liked. Buddy Hield and Jamal Murray. Buddy Hield went to the Pelicans. Very good pairing with Anthony Davis. I really like this one. Replacing Eric Gordon, because Eric Gordon's a free agent now, and it doesn't seem like the Pelicans are going to be going out of their way to re-sign him, especially with this much cap. So you might as well get a cheaper Eric Gordon. And Buddy Hield. You might as well get the cheaper version. And this was a good pickup. I think they're happy with this one. And then Denver getting Jamal Murray, that's an excellent pairing with Emmanuel Muide. I think that's going to be a very fun combo to watch in the next season of the NBA. That's very exciting stuff right there. So good stuff by both teams. Denver really needed some scoring punch, some scoring oomph, because, Denver, they kind of fell on the wayside a little bit, this season. Like, I didn't watch a Denver Nuggets game this year. I'm going to be dead honest. Not even when my Timberwolves played them. I just didn't care for them. And, I didn't know what was going on with this team. I didn't know if they were doing any good or if they were good. But after watching some highlights, I said, yeah, they definitely need someone that can space that floor out. Because Gallinari, I don't know what happened to this guy's shot. He can still shoot sometimes, but he's inconsistent. Wilson Chandler, just didn't look so good on the outside. So Jamal Murray, Emmanuel Muide, that's going to be a fun offensive duo, but maybe disastrous on defense a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely they do need some defense, but whatever. Give them their scores. They'll be like Golden State-ish with just like, hey man, let's just score a bunch. I'm cool with it. I can rock with both these things, and of course, especially the Buddy Hield going to the Pelicans. That one I liked a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be a good pickup. I think that will help New Orleans a lot. I don't know if it pushes them to playoffs just yet, but they do have Anthony Davis, who's a playoff type of player, but it's just you got to surround him with pieces. He can't do it all, Yeah. You got to make sure you surround him with healthy pieces and everything like that. So we got two more topics that we're going to talk about on the NBA draft, and then we were going to go and talk about free agency and everything like that. These are the final two topics. Sorry if we didn't talk about anything else. I'll talk about other picks that I liked really quickly, rapid fire. I like Tyler Ulis going to the Suns. I think he's a nice little point guard for Kentucky. I thought that was a good pick. Denzel Valentine has a cool name. I think he's going to pair well with Jimmy Butler. It's going to be weird. I don't know what position he's really going to play at the NBA level. I see a lot of people saying that the Bulls might use him at point guard, but I think he would be better at the shooting guard position. He can handle like a point guard, but not as well as starting caliber point guard, especially if you go up against someone like a Kyrie Irving, a Stephon Curry, and everything like that. But he's decent enough for that mold, for that level. And then Skal Labissiere went to the Kings, and I don't know what the fuck the Kings are doing with that pick. And he has good upside, I'll say that. But yeah, so those are the other picks that kind of came out to note for me. And then we get on to some insanity in this draft. So there was another thing I was going to talk about. Oh, no, this is insanity too. So there's two insanity things happening back to back. So at number 10, the Milwaukee Bucks, being there at number 10, I'll tell you this right now. Whenever I read YouTube comments or people talking about young, exciting NBA teams, yeah, my Wolves get brought into this because we have Wiggins and Towns, and both of those have shown that, they're going to be really good in the NBA level. The Utah Jazz kind of get brought up into this. And, who else is another young, exciting team that people talk about a lot, generic? I'm kind of drawing a blank on some of the other teams.
A young, exciting team?
Yeah, besides the Wolves and the Jazz that everyone keeps talking about.
I don't know why everyone keeps talking about the Jazz. That's pretty much it. I don't know why people keep talking.
Every year, it's like the Jazz, dude. They're gonna break through, man. The Jazz are gonna break through Hayward and Favors. They haven't done shit.
Yeah, dude. That's it. It's just like because we always talk about how we've talked about in the past how the Bucks are the number one team to come in and wreck up the season order for when the playoff time comes around. So those are the two I can think of. I'm curious. That's it. That's just those two. East and West have one team that's like really young and exciting.
Yeah. The Bucks are that team for the East. They are, and Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jabari Parker. This is a great 1-2 punch that you have here. Giannis can handle the ball very well, can drive. He doesn't have a jump shot. He can fix that. He has length. He can, if he's learned how to use his length against opponents using a jumper, he'll be good.
Yep.
Jabari Parker is just a pure scorer and needs to work on defense. So the Milwaukee Bucks decided, hey, it worked with Giannis when we picked him, and no one thought he should have gone this high when they picked him 15 or 16. I can't remember in the 2013 draft. They picked Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was a mystery at that time. Well, at that time, a lot of people were looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo in the draft. They just were going to pick him up in the later portion of the round one or, in the second round because they said, this kid's still growing. He has a natural flow to the game, so we will take him. So It wasn't as crazy when the Bucks took Antetokounmpo because you knew that maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo could probably grow and be a really good player, if not great player in the NBA. So the Bucks were trying to trade back. No one was interested. So they said, fuck it. Why the fuck not? At number 10, they chose the Australian who moved over to Canada, the first high schooler since Dwight Howard or to be drafted? Dwight Howard's the last high schooler, right? Or is it someone else? Like
it was Dwight because after that they made him mandatory.
Yeah, either Dwight Howard or Lou Williams is the last high schooler to be drafted at the NBA level. I can't remember. If I'm wrong about that, or Andrew Bynum. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Don Maker goes number 10 to the Milwaukee Bucks.
There's nothing that needs to be said about it. We got the what is he supposedly like 17, 18, but nobody knows if he's really like 20 something. Like nobody knows how old he is.
20, but then people think he's 22, and then some people are saying he's 25. No one knows the age of this guy. And the thing is about Thon Maker is that I think it's crazy that this guy can do dribble moves and all this other shit. If he turns out good job, Milwaukee. You hit a home run with Thon Maker. But this is just so stupid of a pick. And this is why the Milwaukee Bucks are where they're at now. Is because they make these stupid selections where it's just like, hey, we have a guy like Giannis. We have a guy like Jabari. You know how we could make this? And Chris Middleton, too. I forgot to mention Chris Middleton, an underrated 3-and-D player at the NBA level. You have Chris Middleton, too. It's like, why don't you think of getting a point guard that can actually fucking shoot the basketball so Giannis can pass it out to him in situations? Why not think about, helping Greg Monroe out and add more depth at the center position with John Henson, have like a 3-center rotation or 3 power forward rotation, or find a way to get Jabari Parker in his natural position at small forward and Giannis at shooting guard or whatever. I don't know. Find a way. Do something with these idiots. It's just like they keep drafting the same shit. Length and athleticism. What the fuck? Half of their draft picks last year, like Damian Ingles and all these other fucks, are all these, they have great wingspans and they're lengthy as fuck. It's like, who gives a shit? If they can't handle the basketball, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh my God, man. It's like, it's just terrible picks, man. It's just terrible pick by the Milwaukee Bucks. Thon Maker, can he turn out to be good? Yeah, but I'd watch some Thon Maker tape, and I can tell you this, I see a guy with great dribble moves and a guy that, can do crazy things that a power forward / center shouldn't be able to do. But when it comes down to overall game, I don't think he has it. I just don't think he has it right now. He's not like Giannis, who was raw, but you saw that he had a nice flow to the game and that it could evolve and expand. He just seems like this is what you have now, and this is probably what you're going to have later. Yeah, if he turns out well, congratulations, Milwaukee. You hit a home run. But to me, oh, no. Oh, no. Not a good pick.
I don't know how to say, Chase. I personally I find it hilarious because it's a typical Milwaukee Buck to pick a guy that looks like he should be playing on the 2K park, just like a 7 foot tall doing like Iverson dribble moves. I don't have a problem with it because I don't care if the Milwaukee Bucks decide to keep drafting guys who are like, you got a crazy wingspan. I know I saw a picture of like the wingspan of like the entire like the people they drafted and their roster, and it's like, yeah, they have crazy wingspan, but how many of those dudes play D? Don Maker doesn't look like a guy who plays a lot. Like he can play a stronger defense in the NBA level. He plays defense against these guys in high school and not because they're short. But I don't think even though he's 7 feet tall, he's going to go the way of Roy Hibbert, where he was like, okay, you're tall for what again? Don't get me wrong. Like you said, everybody loves this guy's dribble moves, but we don't know really. He's not playing. He hasn't played on the NBA level. Stuff like that usually doesn't stay, especially for a guy his size. He won't be athletic like that for that long. Nobody really knows how old he is. For all we know, this kid could actually be 25, which means he might not have that many years of this kind of athleticism in him. He's going to get a lot of wear and tear trying to do those spin moves, and with these big guys in the post, he's going to get beat down in the NBA straight up. Like I don't see anything positive for him other than like. I don't even know. Maybe teams put him by the wayside and they kind of like he gets a chance to kind of just like learn the game his first year. That's the best I can see for him, and maybe he might turn out better. But now he's going to get beat on. Like all these athletic spin moves or whatever, his and one mixtapes they keep putting together for him, they're not going to mean anything. He has to go up and contend with guys like Drummond and guys like Cousins, and even though he's 7 feet tall, he's still got to compete with guys who are actually good at post defending, like Draymond Green. It's like he is not; those moves are not going to matter because the guards are going to be able to keep up with him, and the centers are just going to be swatting him down or getting in his way. I don't know, like if he can't dunk over someone who's like 6 foot, then I don't think Thon Maker has that much in him. It was a clever trick by the Milwaukee Bucks to be like, hey, let's just draft this guy who's getting a lot of buzz and nobody knows how it is, who's controversial, to get their name out there. Maybe attract people to the team, I guess. But I don't see great things coming from he's not, this isn't 2K basically. Like you're not gonna get your 7 foot tall guy with the 85 speed. It's not happening. So yeah, he's cool in the moment. I hope the best for the kid. Or the man, because he might be older than me. But no, not at all. Especially when you got a guy who look down at the bottom who they could have traded for, Scalabrine. They could have got that dude and then had traded him for something, traded him to Phoenix because Phoenix wanted him. They could have did a bunch of other stuff, but they chose Thon Maker because they get their name out there because no one cares about the Bucks when you be like, yeah, they say they're young, athletic, exciting, but people are more interested in Minnesota because they have Zach LaVine and Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns. So they needed to get some buzz, and they wanted to do a bounce bros type thing, and like hopefully this kid can just be spin layups and dunks and whatnot. He needs a lot of work. Like he's gonna need a lot of work. He's just a one trick pony. That's it. He needs a ton of work. Hope for the best for him. That's all I can say about Thon Maker.
Yeah. And then the final NBA draft talk before we get into the free agency talk is going to be talking about the trade. The Oklahoma City Thunder traded Serge Ibaka to get from the Orlando Magic Victor Oladipo, some other power forward, and Domantas Sabonis.
They got Ilyasova.
Ersan Ilyasova. There we go. And Domantas Sabonis from Gonzaga. Orlando, I don't know what you're doing. In all honesty, Fournier's good. Personia could break out, but Ibaka, really? That's
Ibaka's done.
I mean, he has 1 year left on his contract. I mean, I think he's a perfect fit with Nikola Vucevic. I won't deny that. Serge Ibaka will definitely make an Eastern All-Star appearance maybe this year.
Maybe.
But,
I mean, you got to kind of – it's one of those moments where you're like, maybe he might do decent like Harden did. Like, now he's on a team where he doesn't have – he can actually be a part of running the team. You can hope for him, but I doubt it. I mean, he's a pretty decent defensive player, but he's not all there offensively. He's not as good a rebounder as he probably could be or has been.
Yeah, he's like now just camped out at the 3-point line, which I know Orlando likes. I know that's a type of player Frank Vogel likes in his power forward, someone that can space the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Vogel's a good coach, so I think that he can make this move work. I'm just not a fan of it. I just think that this move is so dumb. Like, why? Why are you trading for Serge Ibaka on a 1-year deal? Now, I get what people are saying. Well, the Thunder got Oladipo, and Oladipo has a 1-year deal too. Yeah, but Oladipo is going to be a restricted free agent. So the Thunder pretty much are renting low on Oladipo. So if Oladipo doesn't turn out well, they can just say, bye-bye, Victor. We don't care for you. The Thunder are not renting high on Victor Oladipo.
No.
So, and they got a good player that I think meshes well with Russell Westbrook and can be a good contingency plan if KD doesn't stay. He's not going to replace what KD produced, but on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to see a lot better difference. I think that he will put, release some pressure from Russell Westbrook if KD does leave Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. Because if KD does leave Oklahoma City and he leaves that team and it's going to be the Russell Westbrook team, at least Oladipo can go play some good defense. And Oladipo's good, man, on defense, man. Like, 3-point wise, he can shoot the three. He's not good at it. He can slash very well. He's a good mid-range shooter. But when it comes down to it with Oladipo, it's like he's a good defender. I've seen him play against Stephen Curry. He did great against Stephen Curry. I remember there was this play against the Blazers. CJ McCollum had the ball. Oladipo was all over him, and he passed it off to Lillard. And then Oladipo goes, and he runs on over, and he starts covering Lillard. I'm like, God dang, this guy is just an animal on D. So he's a good defender, and I think he's a good pickup for Thunder. I think if Kevin Durant does come back, watch out. That's going to be some scary shit right there. He's definitely going to be replacing Dion Waiters for sure. Like, goodbye, Dion Waiters. He's perfect for what the Thunder like in their shooting guards. Guys who can shoot threes and play defense. Is he like the greatest 3-and-D player in the NBA? No. But is he a good complement to Russell Westbrook and help Russell Westbrook out in that backcourt? Yeah, I think so. I think he's great with what they want to do. He can run the floor very well. So, and they got Zabonta Yunus, who can turn out to be a decent enough power forward for them, or Ersan Ilyasova if they just want to have Ersan Ilyasova, because Serge Ibaka wasn't doing shit for them on defense. He was just standing out there, or on offense, he was just standing out by the 3-point line shooting his threes. Ersan Ilyasova can do the same shit. He can literally just go out there. Like the Thunder have done this before, where it's just like they have 3 really good starters, or just Westbrook and Durant starting, and then they have a bunch of who the fuck are these guys surrounding them, and then these guys just play better because they're playing with 2 of the top 5 best players in the NBA. So they can get away with this bullshit. They've done it with Kendrick Perkins for many years, and they developed him. They made him into a really good center at one point. Serge Ibaka was like a raw talent, and they made him into a shot blocking thing. So I trust what the Thunder are doing. I know what the Thunder can do as an organization when they get pieces like this. Like Ersan Ilyasova, he could start. I know people are going to be like, that's crazy shit. It's not crazy talk. Serge Ibaka, who wasn't really doing Serge Ibaka-like shit last year, doing the same shit that Ersan Ilyasova could do, Ilyasova can start no problem. And I think he'll do fine for them. And Andre Roberson, a lot of people don't remember this. Roberson played power forward in college. So I'm not saying you put him at the 4 in the NBA level, but if worse comes to worse, you put Roberson in there. So it is what it is. But I thought the Thunder definitely won this trade. Don't get me wrong, Ibaka I think can do well for the Magic, but I don't think this helps the Magic take that next level into the playoffs. I don't think this is like a move where it's like, now the Magic are definitely playoff contenders. They made that like if you're going to give up Oladipo for someone, and I understand like you have a bunch of shooting guards there, like in Fournier and Mario Hezonja and Oladipo, you have to trade one of these guys. You can't keep all 3. You just can't keep all 3 of them. You have to trade one of them and see what you get. But this was the best you could get for Victor Oladipo. This makes the 2013 draft one of the worst drafts ever. One of the worst drafts ever.
Yeah, no, definitely the Thunder came out on top in this draft, or in this trade. And I don't know what the Magic are planning. I honestly wish I did, because they're at the point now where it's like you trade for someone like Serge Ibaka. It's like, okay, so he's down there and he's playing. You got Gordon, who's like, okay, he's a cool like highlight reel dunker, but it's like Chase said, Serge Ibaka's just standing there at the 3-point line waiting to shoot. He's not even playing defense. Like if he still was playing D and being like Serge Ibaka like he was like 2-3 years ago, then yeah, I could totally see trading for him or trying to get a hold of a guy like that. But it's too much of a gamble because one, you can't if he does do okay, who's to say he even wants to sign back with you guys? And two, if he fails, now you guys are just out a decent guard that you guys could have had for if you wanted to trade for someone else. Like the Magic, I don't know what they're planning. I don't know what kind of like free agency nonsense they're planning, but right now it doesn't look good for them. They're not taking a step forward. They're just kind of stationary because they got rid of Ilyasova in that deal. Honestly, they're just stationary because of that, because they both do the same thing. And Ilyasova, granted, is not he's playing about just as, like you said, just as much defense as Ibaka. Like he's not like a shot blocker like Ibaka can be if he wants to be, but he can shoot. So the Thunder come out on top in this one. Magic stay in neutral or stay in park. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, 100% agree. So now it's time to talk about the big thing, the 2016 NBA free agency video. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to talk about all the big players and also some of the smaller players too, because there's some decent enough role players that could actually play some roles for these teams. But, of course, let's talk about the big fish. We're here to talk about Kevin Durant, KD trade 5, the best free agent on this market, not named LeBron James, because we all know LeBron James isn't leaving Cleveland. LeBron James is a free agent. He opted out of his player option, but he's not leaving. So LeBron James goes back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Good move. Andre Drummond is another big name on the free agent block, but yeah, I think Detroit's going to max whatever the fuck you want to make sure they keep Andre Drummond, because that guy's a stud. So Kevin Durant is pretty much de facto number one free agent in this draft class. So we're going to talk about him. Now, KD, he has a lot of options. It's not like if Kevin Durant goes to this team that he signs for, he's going to sign a long-term deal. He could easily just sign a one-year deal to make sure he can mesh well with the team, because don't forget, next year the salary cap gets a little bit bigger. So KD can easily sign that one-year LeBron deal with the player option, decline the option, and either re-sign that team or go back into free agency next year. So, all these teams that are being mentioned, I think that's what their pitch is like. Hey, come with us for 1 year and you'll win a championship with us. That's what we need you for just this 1 year. And if you like this culture a lot, you can come back. So
really, because one of the teams
what they're going to do
is Boston. I don't think they're pitching that to him. Come to us for 1 year, we can win a championship.
We're going to go with it. We're going to go with the team. So tonight, once free agency strikes into Hamptons, where Kevin Durant is going to meet all these teams, he's going to meet them in the Hamptons. Fucking where rich people go just to have a fucking great vacation, right?
Yeah.
So he will be meeting with the Oklahoma City Thunder before hitting the Hamptons. The Thunder are going to make one last pitch for him tonight, June 30th, to see if they can tell Durant, like, hey, you got to stay and blah, blah, blah. So there you go. So they're also going to make one more final meeting as well. Then Friday, once free agency opens, the Warriors and the Clippers would be visiting Kevin Durant. Now let's talk. We know what Kevin Durant's role is with the Oklahoma City Thunder. We know what he can do with this team. So there's no point in breaking down KD staying with the Thunder. We know they can make the NBA Finals. They could possibly win an NBA championship. It's more interesting talking about the teams that he could go to. So we're going to start with the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Golden State Warriors, they do have a hole at the 3 position. Harrison Barnes is going to most likely be leaving this free agency if they don't land Durant. If they don't land Durant, they'll probably try to get him back or whatever. But for the most part, they're going all in for KD. They want to win another championship. This would pair KD with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and this Oklahoma City passing attack. Kevin Durant is familiar with Oklahoma City. They kicked his ass in the Western Conference Finals, in a Game 7. So he could be enticed to join the enemy team. Just say, hey, if you can't beat them, join them. Now, when I look at the when I look at the Golden State Warriors, I really do think that this is a decent fit with Kevin Durant, because I don't see Stephen Curry being an egomaniac. He's not that type of person where he has a big time ego and stuff like that. I see Klay Thompson being able to play well with Kevin Durant. I don't know how Draymond Green will play with Kevin Durant, but I do think this helps the Golden State Warriors out a lot. I really do feel like if he does go with the Golden State Warriors, that I don't think it's a definite lock that the Thunder are winning the championship, but it will make the Thunder a lot more scarier. Like, it would give them like the praise of like, hey, they should go to the finals. But if I'm Durant, I honestly, like, if you sign a 1-year deal with Oklahoma City and you win a championship with them, are you really going to be satisfied with that? And especially because you know Oklahoma City, not Oklahoma City, Golden State. You also know that Golden State ain't going to pay you a lot of money next offseason because they have another dude named Stephen Curry. I don't know. He's a 2-time MVP. He's also a free agent next year too. So Golden State, if they try to sign Durant to a long-term deal, you know, they also have to worry about signing Stephen Curry to a long-term deal. And if you do give Kevin Durant the 1 year and the player option, is Durant really gonna sit there and stay for less money, trying to go back to back? I don't know. I think it would be a great fit though. I think it's gonna be fun if he does go. It'll make LeBron have to make a power move with the Cleveland Cavaliers for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, doesn't the league like sometimes block like trades and signings and stuff? I think they might need to hold off on that one. That's I mean, me personally, I think that's too much with the whole like the stacking stars things. But you know, of course, people they hate LeBron so much they'd be in favor of having these 4 who are actually pretty good. I don't know. Draymond Green. That depends on who you talk to, but at least these 3 star players and a really good starter with them. It fits on paper. With that being said, like you said, there's the salary cap. They want to get Steph Curry back. They could sign him on a 1-year deal. I think if he goes there, though, he has no choice but to go to a different team afterwards, because he's at the point now where the teams have be like, hey, come back for a little less money so we can pick up so and so the next year, and he's kind of like, no, I'm Kevin Durant, I'm not doing that. So, or people are basically saying it's like, why would he accept less? He's in his prime. He's 27 years old. He's a good player. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. He just can't. He just hasn't won a championship yet for whatever reason. And I don't see him going to Golden State. I see him talking to them, trying to like put because it's like, oh man, if Golden State's after him, other people will put in bigger deals for him. But I don't see him going there. If he goes there, I don't see him staying there. Or somebody's got to go if he stays, and you don't want anyone off that team the way it's built right now, unless a guy retires because he ages out or something like that. Other than that, you don't want a guy off that team. So like you said, none of those guys are egomaniacs, so they don't mind accepting a lower role. But I don't know about accepting lower pay. So
they definitely want to get paid. They live in California. I can tell you, California state tax is not cheap. Speaking of the other California team, the Los Angeles Clippers will be wanting to meet with Kevin Durant. Now, the Clippers, they're a team that everyone has been waiting to say, oh, this is their year to break out. I've said it on Twitter. Chris Paul has to be the most unluckiest guy on planet Earth. I mean, every year you think Chris Paul's just going to break open and finally make an NBA Finals. It's like bad shit happens to him, man. It's like Chris Paul with the Hornets. Oh, the Hornets, nice young team. Oh, Kobe's in his prime, so fuck you. You're not going to make it. Chris Paul gets traded to the Clippers. Oh, Chris Paul, he's going to do well with the Clippers. Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. That's a nice young pairing at the front court for Chris Paul. He's going to do well with them, and it's like, LOL, the Spurs are still good. And then finally, the Spurs are falling off a little bit. That they're still a good team, but the Clippers could probably do it. And then Stephen Curry becomes one of the best players in the league. No one saw that coming. Chris Paul has the worst luck in the world. He literally has the worst luck in the world, and he's a great player. And Blake Griffin, I think, plays well with what Kevin Durant wants. I think DeAndre Jordan plays well with what Kevin Durant wants. I think they have the right coach in Doc Rivers, someone that Kevin Durant could actually respect and listen to and stuff like that. He's a player's coach. He's someone that Kevin Durant would love playing for. And honestly, the Clippers could offer him a big deal because, CP3, this is his last year on his contract. Blake Griffin, his future is up in the air. And if you're the Clippers, you can actually offer Durant a lot of money and say, you know what, you're our guy. Because if we don't win this year, guess what? It's fine. We'll reload. We'll try to get Chris Paul to come back for 1 more year or 2 more years or 3 more years, however many years he wants to play left with the Clippers, unless him and LeBron form the super dream team in Cleveland. You know,
I'm waiting.
They can do that with Kevin Durant and pitch it that you're going to be the guy. And, you know, Los Angeles Clippers, yeah, it's in LA, but it has that Oklahoma City feel to it. It has its own culture. It has its own different fan base. You know, it's not as loved and respected as the Lakers. You know, the Clippers are kind of just like, you know, the way worse than the little brother of the Lakers. They're way worse than the little brother of the Lakers.
They're the little cousin of the Lakers.
No, they get bullied by the Lakers.
Yeah, like a cousin. I used to bully my little cousins all the time.
Yeah, they're way worse than the little brother. And, you know, there is that type of feel where Kevin Durant may want to go to the Clippers because, you know, he could become the franchise guy and become, you know, next to Chris Paul. And I know it's kind of crazy to say that Chris Paul is the best player in Clipper history, but he is. He's the best player in Clipper history. Kevin Durant can become that player where he's the best player in Clipper history. And I know Kevin Durant's looking to win, but I think the Clippers with Kevin Durant can definitely make a run at the Western Conference Finals, even the Western Conference Championship, even the NBA Finals. I think they have a well-balanced team there. But it's just more on the levels of, can they stay healthy? Can they keep it together? Because, you know, there's been reports on and off the court about the Clippers. You know, Chris Paul hates DeAndre Jordan. No, they're friends. Chris Paul and Blake Griffin aren't getting along. No, they're friends. They like each other. It's like, can they keep that in check? That's the one thing in my one question about the Los Angeles Clippers. What are your thoughts about Durant going to the Clippers?
I think Durant going to the Clippers would be a great move. They could, like you said, offer him a lot, and CP3 could either choose to stay or choose to go hang out with LeBron. I'm fine with both those things. The problem with, like you said, is that locker room, especially because of DeAndre Jordan trying to go, or basically signing up to go to Dallas. That like hurt their morale on that team and their teamwork. And then the injuries didn't help, you know, in the playoffs. So, you know, you got bad luck, Brian and Chris Paul. So you hope for the best for him, and I think the best thing for him would be to get a Kevin Durant. I don't know if they could. Like, I actually don't know how much they even have under the cap right now, but I don't think that they'd be able to keep Chris Paul. Yeah, they don't have a lot. I think if memory serves, I don't remember who was talking about. I was watching SportsCenter. It was like they pretty much had to drop Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant had to take less money. You know, if he were to do like a 1-year deal with a player option, or actually sign a multi-year deal. So do I think he's going to go there? No. Would I like him there? Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be a great fit for him. And they can always just, if Chris Paul goes, get another point guard in the draft, free agency. So, yeah, it's a good fit. And I don't think they would lose a lot whether one or the other leaves. They still just kind of in the same place. But if they keep Durant, then they have a higher ceiling than they would. Even though Chris Paul is a great player, I just, you know, if they can keep all 4 of those guys on the team together, then of course it's amazing. But if they can't, then you still have Kevin Durant, who's a prolific scorer, you know, and a decent passer. So, and you could find a good passing point guard in free agency if it came down to it. I don't think they'll never find anyone as good as Chris Paul. But hey, it is what it is. So Kevin Durant going to the Clippers, I like it. I don't see it happening, but I like it. That's one of the ones I like.
Yeah, and we'll give our final decision. Don't spoil it, generic minority, but we'll give our final decision where we think Kevin Durant's going to end once we name up all the 6/7 teams that did not get meetings with Kevin Durant. Next up, on July 2nd, Kevin Durant will be meeting with the San Antonio Spurs. Oh, what? The Spurs? Yeah, for many years, the Spurs have never been that team that go after like big name free agents. They've always been like the nice little like, oh, they have their big 3. They draft all these players that no one wants, and they build them back up good because they just have such a camaraderie. Well, last year the Spurs shocked everyone. LaMarcus Aldridge was a free agent last year, people, and you know, popular destinations where he was going to the Lakers, he's going to the Knicks. He wants a big market. And then LaMarcus Aldridge said, yo, I don't have an ego. I actually want to win fucking games, and I want to win a championship. So I'm going to San Antonio with for less money, which shocked the hell out of everyone. Everyone's like, fuck, LaMarcus Aldridge went to the – no one had the Spurs ever getting LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, even when there was reports that the Spurs could get LMA, I was like, no way. There's no way they're going to get LaMarcus Aldridge. And they did. So when I look at the Spurs going to Kevin Durant, you know, they have a really good 3-and-D player in Kawhi Leonard. They have a really good power forward in LaMarcus Aldridge. Timmy D, in big games, he can still play his defense. Tony Parker, trash. Shooting guard position, Tony Parker's been trash. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to upset Spurs fans, but he hasn't been good. Tony Parker's been trash, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
It's just the truth. Shooting guard position, it's up in the air of what's going on there. Danny Green's sometimes he looks like Danny Green should. Sometimes he's like, what the fuck are you doing, Danny Green? But for the most part, the Spurs have a really, really nice pieces. And, you know, they have proven success, you know, even without like superstars. They've proven that, hey, we can win. And I know everyone's going to be like, well, Chase Tim Duncan's a superstar. Yeah, but Tim Duncan hasn't been a superstar since what, 07? Yeah. Tim Duncan's a great player, but, you know, he's not a superstar anymore. And they've won championships where Tim Duncan's not a superstar. Kawhi Leonard, he wasn't a superstar at that point when he won the NBA Finals MVP. He was just like, you know, oh, yeah, he's a good defender. He can hit the three. He runs the floor well. Yeah. You know, no one was saying Kawhi Leonard was like one of the top 10 players in the league. The Claw, they weren't saying anything about Kawhi Leonard like that, you know. So Kevin Durant, you know, when it comes down to the Spurs, yeah, he beat them, but he knows that this organization knows how to win. He can buy into the fact that this organization will win a championship sooner rather than later with Kevin Durant playing with them.
Yeah, no, I agree 110%. I think it's you know, Popovich is already he's got his hair combed, he's looking his hair back, going, hey, you know, Kevin, I know you talked to some of the other guys back there, but I think we could really do something. You know, Popovich is putting on this little magic charm that he does to keep the rest of the old Timmy Duncan in them from retiring. So whatever little voodoo that he does, you know, he's gonna try to work it. They're gonna sneak him in. Oh, hey man, I know you guys are having a conversation here, but I just thought I'd pop my head in, talk to KD real quick, and it's like, oh great, you know, because they like you said, they got to hold LaMarcus Aldridge when everyone was like, why would he go to there? Why would he go with them? Why would he sign? Why would he take less money? And then you had guys who were flat out saying, I'm taking less money to try to win, like David West. So you got to think Kevin Durant's gonna take less money, it's to win, and that's where he's going. So. Yeah, they have a definite chance of getting them. There's no question about it. I think they got a better chance than some of the other teams that we'll talk about.
The Spurs off because no one had them taking LMA. Yeah. No one thought LMA was going to go to the Spurs. You know,
that alone puts them. Yeah, that alone puts them like in a spot where like you can't just drop them, because when people talk about it, you go, no, why would he sign there? Well, why would LaMarcus Aldridge sign there? You know, you can't throw them out. I think they're still up there, and they could get them. I think they could do some voodoo charm on them.
And Weston in the comment section said, Tony Parker's a legend, Chase. What do you talk about? Yeah, he's a legend. He was trash this season, though. Like, I'm just saying Tony Parker was trash. Like, he was trash this year. He wasn't doing shit. He's a legend. I'm not going to deny Tony Parker's a legend. He's a finals MVP in his own right. Should have won MVP at least once in his career. But he hasn't done anything since. Since like 2 years ago, he hasn't done shit. He's looked bad. He's a legend. I'm not trying to say Tony Parker's not a legend. Like, fuck. I'm just saying he's trash right now. All right. So next team that he's going to meet up with is the Boston Celtics. Now, the thing was with the Boston Celtics is like, you know, they don't really have a team where it's like, oh, well, they can make that huge jump with Durant. But the thing is, they're in the Eastern Conference. Durant hasn't played in the Eastern Conference, and he knows the Eastern Conference is weaker than the Western Conference, and he knows that he most likely has a better shot in the East than the West. That's why the Miami Heat was able to land a meeting with him, and we'll talk about the Heat in a moment. The Celtics, though, I think Durant with him, it will make Durant the sole number one player. Like, there's no one on that Celtics team that's going to become the sole number one player if KD's on that team. I mean, that's the one thing with the Celtics is that they don't have that sole number one player. I think they have a coach in Brad Stevens that I think Kevin Durant can very, very respect. I think they can pay him a lot of money too to come because they have like a hell of a lot of cap space. I think the Celtics could be a decent move for Kevin Durant, especially going to the Eastern Conference, change of scenery. You can become one of the Celtic greats, etch his name in history. Yeah, sure, he didn't stay with one team his whole career, but man, he was a great Boston Celtic. Playing in those Celtic unis. Maybe he'll entice Durant a little bit. He has Isaiah Thomas to play with, Avery Bradley. He'll be the man. So that's all I can really say about Boston and Durant.
I agree because I don't know. I don't see them ever get not ever, but I don't see them having a reason to get rid of Isaiah Thomas. The only thing I could ever see is that if they were managed to get a hold of Durant, it would be to help entice Westbrook the next year. So I think because they have so much cap space, they might be, and I don't know for sure, making promises to him, being like, "Hey man, we got all this cap space, dude. We sign you. Your buddy Westbrook.
Yeah,
he gets out.
And they can also sign players that Durant wants to play with.
Yep,
and they have a lot of players that are tradable. Like that's the thing about the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas has a great contract that you can trade away to get a player, and it's not like you're downgrading for getting Isaiah Thomas. The team would be like, sweet, we get a cheap contract and Isaiah Thomas, awesome. Jay Crowder I was talking about, he's another player you can trade away that teams are interested in, and same with Avery Bradley and maybe Sullinger or Olynyk, whichever one you want to get rid of. They have a lot of trade assets. It's not like the Celtics.
They have the Celtics aren't out simply because they have a lot of options. I know a lot of people are saying like, no, why he'd be the only star there, but they can do a lot. Provide, obviously they try to do a lot with trading, with Jimmy Butler, but they can still do a lot if they get a hold of a star like Durant. So I don't count them out, and I think if they do get those things done, it'd be a great fit for him because you now have a guy where you can put him around the people he's most comfortable with because you have the ability to do so. Not just, and that's a team that could sign him for multiple years with the promise of getting, other people are going after other people, as opposed to other teams who like sign him for like a year with the player option. So I don't see it. It's not a bad move for him on that part either.
Yeah, and then the final team he's going to meet with is the Miami Heat. Look, it's Pat Riley. He's going to try to pull his Pat Riley voodoo magic. And look, I don't think Durant on the Miami Heat sounds like a good idea. And I think if he goes there, Pat Riley is just a mastermind, and he knows how to voodoo anyone to do anything in the world. But I think with the Heat and Kevin Durant, I just don't see it. I mean, they have nice pieces like Josh Richardson and Justice Winslow, and Tyler Johnson's another guy they're trying to keep. There's no way they can keep Dwayne Wade and Hassan Whiteside if they sign Durant. There's no way. But I think Durant may be interested. The fact that it's Miami, he's lost to the Heat. Maybe Pat Riley can pull some voodoo magic. Maybe he's done with Chris Bosh, trades Chris Bosh away. Who knows? But all I'm saying is I just don't see Durant on the Heat. I think Durant on the Heat would just be like the weirdest thing I would see. It would just look awkward.
I don't know if it necessarily look awkward, at least not for me. It depends on who they get a hold of, either, from this free agency, who they re-sign or whatnot, or who they decide to keep and trade. I don't know. Like you said, Pat Riley has the voodoo. He's got the Greg Popovich, like very like slick. Like, oh come on, dude! I don't want to be here. Nah, you want to be here though. So I don't know, man. Pat Riley is a smart dude, and he can talk you into a lot of stuff. So I don't put it past him. Like, I don't know. That one's up in the air for me. But I could see him playing there. Now, unlike you, I could actually see him playing there. I don't think it would look weird. I think it'd just be like it depends on who's around him there. That's it.
And then the Knicks are pushing for a meeting. Carmelo Anthony, one of Durant's good friends, is looking to try to get Durant to New York.
Give them the talk. Let them sit down with the Knicks and just. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, because Durant at first, Knicks weren't on his radar. They got D Rose. They have a nice young guy like Porzingis on their team. Now he's a little bit more interested to see what the Knicks are having to offer. And if he goes to the Knicks, it'll probably be a one-year deal type of deal, and the Knicks are going to try to go all in to dethrone the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Lakers, they won't get a discussion. The Lakers, they've been wanting to meet with Kevin Durant. Laker fans this whole year, we're getting KD, motherfuckers. Oh, well, Kevin Durant said nope. Not interested. So Laker fans, the Lakers' luster is running thin right now for them because lost out on LaMarcus Aldridge and lost out even bigger on Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant,
they've been losing losing out on guys the past 3 years. You know, Dwight didn't do what they wanted to do. No LaMarcus Aldridge, no Kevin Durant. You know, you got your sophomore player snitching on his teammates to get him traded off the team.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Lakers fans. As a New Yorker, I sincerely want to send you an apology because you've now become us, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Lakers are just more looking to build. There's other free agents for them to get. The Wizards not going to get a meeting either, even though everyone thought he was going to go back home. He's going back to D.C., guys. He's going back to Washington.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if the Wizards would have made the playoffs, maybe KD trade would have gone there. Toronto. I'm surprised Toronto is not making a push for.
That's the team I was pushing back when we were talking about it.
Huh?
Yeah, that was the team I was pushing the idea of back when we talked about it last after the finals. I was like, maybe he goes there. That seems like a good spot for him. But you know, they didn't get in the talks, which is kind of sad especially for them because they could use a guy like him.
Yeah, I was surprised because Durant grew up as a Raptors fan. That's his favorite team. He's cool with Drake. Drake was trying to recruit him. So
yeah, I mean Drake recruited him. He doesn't want to wear the sweet OVO gold and black jerseys. Come on, man.
Yeah. Weston says, imagine a team with Rose, Anthony, and Durant. Yeah, in 2K, that would be great. I don't know about real life. Anyways, it's time to talk about other free agents besides Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant is going to be if you're watching NBA free agency period, Kevin Durant most likely the name you're going to hear over and over again and start getting sick of where Durant's going to go and stuff like that. The Durant World Tour starts tonight. So, other free agents to talk about that are very interesting. Mike Conley of the Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, yeah. Where's Kevin Durant going, by the way, at the end? Where's Kevin Durant going to go? Where do you think he's going to go? What's your kind of prediction?
If I had to make a prediction, I say he goes back to OKC for one more year for everyone's cap to get bigger and for people to have more solidified pieces. He stays one more year so he can leave with Westbrook and they can come as a package deal.
I agree with you. I think he re-signs with Oklahoma City, number 2 to Celtics, and then number 3 to Spurs. I don't think he's going to go to Golden State. I don't see it.
It's OKC, Knicks, and then Knicks.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Mike Conley is another guy that I want to talk about in this free agency preview. We got a bunch of guys to talk about. So Mike Conley, Memphis point guard. The Grizzlies are about to try to give him a big-time contract to stay, but it seems like he might not be staying. It seems like grit and grind has kind of fallen down a little bit. Reports are that, the Spurs are looking at him. Of course, the Spurs are looking at Mike Conley. Why wouldn't they look at any of all these great players and shit like that? He's like a Spurs player in itself. Even if they don't get Durant and they get Mike Conley as a second-place trophy, that's a good second-place trophy. I mean, Mike Conley, Kawhi Leonard, and LaMarcus Aldridge, that's pretty good if you ask me. But most likely, I think Mike Conley goes to the Dallas Mavericks. I think the Mavericks will pay more for him, and he's a good point guard.
Yeah, I actually see him going to the Spurs. I don't see why he wouldn't. If we were talking about guys who are going to be, tired of the grit and grind of the team that they're on and they want a chance at winning a championship, you stick yourself with a bunch of vets that can teach you the game, and you also have a set of younger guys who can help you win one. I actually see him going to the Spurs, and then Dallas is a secondary. So I say Spurs, you say Dallas, but we both have them in 1 and 2. So
yeah, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Al Horford. And by the way, if you guys want to know why I'm naming certain players at certain rankings, is because this is how I rank my free agents. So yeah, I think Mike Conley is the second best free agent. Suck a dick, Hassan Whiteside.
Why?
I like Hassan Whiteside, but I don't think he's a top, my second best free agent next to Durant.
You're saying that, but he's going to the Mavericks along with Conley if that's the case.
Well, we will talk about Hassan Whiteside. Let's talk about a good center and power forward. And Al Horford. I like Al Horford. I'm an Al Horford fan.
I know. I just didn't know you. I didn't know you had this much discontent for Whiteside, man.
No, I like Whiteside. I just think Al Horford's a better player. Is that
Yeah,
wrong? To
definitely.
think Al
No,
Horford's a
no,
good
it's
player?
not. I did think about it. You had to soul search for a second, and you go, yeah, yeah. But I still like Hassan Whiteside. I think he has a good upside.
Whiteside's young. Like the thing about Whiteside, he's good. It's just that he has bad concentration. Yeah, like I don't trust a player like that.
Oh
So
yeah, he's got the JaVale McGee. Like, dude, pick your head. Look around, man. Focus.
no, he has focus. Like his focus is like bad off the court, is what I meant. Al Horford's a
Oh,
nice guy. Al Horford plays center even though he hates it.
he's a
So
nice guy.
Al Horford. It's interesting with Al Horford because at one point everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to Orlando. It's got to be Orlando." Al Horford, Orlando, and then Orlando got Serge, and I don't know if they're now looking at Al Horford still. I don't think they should be because that would be a clusterfuck right there. I don't think Al Horford is looking for a bench role either. Honestly, with Al Horford, it's really hard to say what team he should go to. Should he re-sign with the Hawks and be miserable playing center because he hates playing center? But yeah, it's with Al Horford. He's a good player, but I don't know where he's going to go. It's like a mystery of where Al Horford's going to go, what team he would fit with, and what team would want to play him at his position that he wants to play, the power forward position. He doesn't want to play center anymore. He wants to play power forward. So it's going to be interesting to see what team gets Al Horford and see how he uses them.
I don't know. I think he's one of those guys that doesn't get signed until way later when you solidify that another team, like a team he would want to go to, has a center, so he doesn't have to play. I still don't know who that'd be, but they're not. He's not going to go to the Magic. They got Serge Ibaka, and he doesn't want to play center. He's at the point now where he doesn't have to play center anymore. He can refuse teams to be like, especially a team like the Magic.
I don't think he's going to start with the Magic either. Like, are you going to really bench Vucevic for Horford?
No. So he wouldn't go there. Like, there's no reason for him to go there. I don't know why everyone. Magic's are a delusional fan base, man. They're also getting Dwight back. I mean, if we're gonna go there, like, calm down.
Dwight's coming back. But yeah, Horford. Do you have any? I think like if Durant goes, maybe Boston would get Al Horford. They do need like a good four. So maybe he goes to Boston.
Maybe
that could be a possibility. I'm trying to think of teams that Horford would want to go to because he's 29 years old. He's not going to go to a team where he's not going to be able to win shit. Al Horford's going to go to a team where he could actually win.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Like that's Boston actually makes a lot of sense now that you said it. I'm like really thinking. I don't know. Like
I don't see him going to the Lakers.
No, that thought passed my mind too, but that's no. Clippers, no, he's not going to either of the LA teams. He's not going to California at all. There's not a team out there for him.
Maybe the Blazers would be interested in him. They kind of need a four.
Who's there for right now? Like Plumlee? One of the Plumlee brothers?
No, Plumlee's their five. I think Ed Davis may be their power forward. I don't know who their power forward is. I don't.
Oh yeah, it is. It is Ed Davis. It is Ed Davis because I keep thinking he's what's old boy that plays their small forward? They kind of look. They both look the same.
Al-Farouq Aminu.
Yeah, Al-Farouq Aminu. Yeah, with the I don't even know how to with the baby face. Yeah, no, the Boston Celtics makes the most sense. Honestly, he's one I'm interested to see. Where once I see what team he's gone to, I'm like, and it's like if he's forced to play center, you'd be like, oh great. If he gets to go to a team that he can play power forward, I'm like, sweet. So I'm curious, but Boston actually makes a lot of sense now that you said it. And the Blazers, because they don't have anyone else and they've got some cap space, he actually would be a decent fit Blazer because I think Kamen's up too. So if he has to play center at 7 points, they could use him there if they can't get Kamen.
Yeah, and he's also a pop guy too, so that fits what Stotts wants to do with his power forwards. Mm-hmm. Up next is Hassan Whiteside, ranked number 4 in my free agency. Hassan Whiteside, he's a really good double-double machine. He's not a fluke like everyone thought he was. He's going to be a reliable center. There's only 2 teams enrolled for Hassan Whiteside, maybe 3. I put the Miami Heat at maybe, but I highly doubt they're going to be able to keep him. I highly doubt it. I think they're going to try, but I think Hassan Whiteside may be looking at Los Angeles or Dallas, who are going to pay a boatload of money for him, and they should. They should pay a boatload of money for a center that's 7 feet, has averaging almost 4 blocks a game, and gets a double-double. That's a rare stat line right there. I mean, he can dunk at the rim easily. He is very, very good at help defense and everything like that. But the only problem with Hassan Whiteside when you get him is how are you going to mentor him off the court? How are you going to keep the attitude issues in control?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know much about. I don't know much about how Hassan Whiteside and like the attitude issues you referenced. I only see him as a player. Um, I didn't know he's the way he was. So that might cause some friction on whatever team he's on. Honestly just see him going to the Mavericks. So many people of the Mavericks are they have like how so many players that opted out that they're making a push. They're gonna make a push for him. They're gonna go for him, and that's the only team that I see him going for that will pay him what he wants. I mean, if you're saying he's the kind of person that you're saying he is, or if he is the kind of person you're saying he is, then I see him going wherever chasing the money. Because he even said something to the effect of like, "I'm not just a player, I'm a businessman," or something like that. I think was one of the quotes he had. So yeah, why not to have him go? And I think they think signing him will help them get Parsons back.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see there. The fifth best free agent for me is DeMar DeRozan out of the Toronto Raptors. DeRozan, I like him. He just has terrible dribble moves, and he has no three-point shot. He's disgusting to watch, but somehow it fucking works. Somehow this guy ends up averaging 23 points. He's a nice rebounder, and he's a decent passer for the shooting guard possession. So, and decent enough defense, enough to get you by on defense. DeRozan is interesting. I don't see if the Lakers chase for him, that's like the stupidest decision I would think the Lakers would do. You know how I talked about how not getting Kevin Durant and for the Spurs and getting Mike Conley's like a second place trophy, not getting Hassan Whiteside for the Lakers and then them signing DeMar DeRozan. That's like a fucking participation trophy. That's just them getting a participation trophy that everyone else fucking gets. Because I don't see how DeMar DeRozan makes up for not getting the song. I say, we did Whiteside, but we got DeRozan, guys. DeMar DeRozan.
No, that's like a participation trophy on the count of both sides. Because to DeMar DeRozan's like, dude, why would you do that, dude? You have all these options, man. People like you, no matter what you say about like his overall play style. People want him, or some people want him at least. I say he just needs to go back to the Raptors. He just needs to stay with his team.
I think that's the best move. Make the most money for Toronto.
Yeah. Don't be a consolation prize to the Lakers. All right. Then you got to worry about people having their phone on recording you all the time, and then you got to carry that team. I don't see DeMar DeRozan carrying the Lakers.
Yeah, I say stay with the Raptors. Who knows? Maybe you'll do something stupid and sign with the Milwaukee Bucks because the Bucks like to do stupid shit. All right. So next up, the sixth best free agent in this draft class for Chase Oliver, Dwayne Wade is a free agent this year, unrestricted. Did really well in the regular season. You know, the thing with Dwayne Wade is you have to rest him. But when it comes playoffs, playoff Dwayne Wade is fun to watch. Now, Dwayne Wade is not going to be loyal to the Heat here. You know, the Miami Heat organization. He would like to. You know, he would like to go back to the Heat. But he's keeping his options open. Maybe take less money and go to the Spurs. Holy shit, what the fuck? Can you imagine that team? If they got Dwayne Wade, you got Tony Parker, Old Man Wade, Durant, Kawhi, LaMarcus, Old Man Duncan. Damn, that's a pretty good team if you ask me. But yeah, Wade, I think ultimately he's going to stay with the Heat. I think that would be the best move. I don't want to see Dwayne Wade leaving the Heat. Dwayne Wade just looks perfect in the Heat jersey. Like, look, if he goes to San Antonio to win another ring, awesome job, Dwayne Wade. That's cool. That's cool with me. I'm not going to be pissed off. But if you go to the Mavericks, I just don't see how the Mavericks, like, and I know Weston's a Maverick fan, and I'm not trying to hate on the Mavericks here. I think them getting Conley and Whiteside would be good for them. I just don't see how Dwayne Wade fits with what the Mavericks want to do, you know? Are you there, Generic? Oh, Generic Minority has disappeared on me. So, yeah, we will get his thoughts on Dwayne Wade and everything like that. But, yeah, like, I just feel Dwayne Wade to the Mavericks. I just don't feel like that's the move where I would like it. I just don't feel like he fits with what the Mavericks want out of their shooting guards. So, yeah. But what are your thoughts on Dwayne Wade? Like, do you think he's going to stay with the Heat like I do, or do you see him going to the Spurs or Mavericks?
I don't see him. Like, I feel like he's what's the word I'm looking for? He's the runner up if they can't get the guy that they want. I don't see him leaving the Heat either. Like the Heat's the team he needs to retire with. Like I know people on my Facebook were pushing around the Cavs idea. I was just like, no, I like it, but no, he just needs to retire in that Heat jersey, man. They just need to put pieces around him. They're not even that bad of a team, so. Why even leave? There's no real reason for him. I mean, I know he's not gonna give him preferential treatment, but like, dude, they're gonna do buy you good. You could go hang out with all these veterans, but you also like he'd have to take less money because they want to sign other guys. And it's like, is he willing to take less money at this point in his career? Like he's older and people are willing to pay him a lot more money. Why not take the money? You know? Like, I mean, that's what Melo did. He's like, I mean, I'm not great, but I mean, like they paid me more money, so why not? Stay. He just needs to stay.
Yeah, I agree with that. My next rated free agent is Nicolas Batum, the French swingman, formerly of the Portland Trailblazers, played for the Charlotte Hornets, was traded to the Charlotte Hornets and played really well with the Charlotte Hornets. Him and Kemba Walker were absolutely fun to watch together. Unfortunately, he got injured in the playoffs, so you didn't really get to see Batum and Kemba in full effect. You kind of just got to see Kemba Walker carrying that fucking Hornets team on his back to try to get to the next round. But Batum's a really good player. I think he's a nice swingman. I honestly hope he signs with Charlotte. I hope he stays with Charlotte. I hope he doesn't go anywhere else. I hope he doesn't chase the money to another team because he played well. I think him and Kemba are just such a nice little pairing together, and I feel like that these two should just stick together and see what they can do in the East, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I just see him being the contemplation prize to a team that wants a small forward that can't get Kevin Durant. So like, I wouldn't be surprised to see him. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if it necessarily fits, and I don't think it does for him to be on like a Golden State or somehow get himself signed to like Toronto because they want a forward, So don't be surprised if he chases the money. I think he's a little bit older now at this point, right? Like he's
28, 29.
Yeah, he's at the point of pushing 30, so he wants to start winning things with, or getting people around him, and so I don't know, but I agree with you. I hope he stays.
Yeah, so I hope he stays with Charlotte. Up next with my free agency rankings, we have a shooting guard from the Washington Wizards, the Bradley Beal, who has been very inconsistent but has a sweet shooting stroke. Now, he is a restricted free agent, but that doesn't mean that a team can't scoop him up. And the Wizards, if they see that his money has been way too high, do you really spy that stock on Bradley Beal? I mean, yeah, he's a good, nice young player, but are you really going to waste that much money to keep Bradley Beal in a Washington Wizards jersey? Who's Beal going to sign with? I don't fucking know. He could stay with the Wizards and sign this insane contract that he doesn't deserve. He's very inconsistent, unhealthy type of player, but when he's healthy, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He can end up doing good things for whatever team next year or with the Wizards next year. I don't know where he's going to go, but let's just hope he's healthy where he goes.
Yeah, that's it. I don't care where he goes, just so long as he stays healthy. I actually think it's better that the Wizards don't keep him personally, but I don't know where he goes.
Yeah. Up next on my rankings, Spaniard forward, always a good help to a team, Pau Gasol.
Knicks.
Yeah, I'm thinking New York. That I was just waiting for you to say the Knicks part.
I didn't know you were pausing for me. I was just like, is he mulling it over? No, I think he goes to the Knicks. Him and another free agent go to the Knicks, because why not? Like, he's gonna follow the guy he wants to play with. You got Jimmy Butler being a scumbag in the locker room, so why not? You're gonna leave you're gonna get good play out of him. I mean, either that or he goes to finally go hang out with his brother for once.
Yeah, maybe goes to Memphis, hangs out with his brother. Maybe goes to Minnesota with Rubio. Maybe goes, help Towns out or whatever. But he seems like he wants to win a championship. Mm-hmm. So I would say maybe if the Thunder are feeling real froggy, they re-sign Durant. Hey, get Paul Gasol. Why not? He's still a good, productive player for you. Maybe he goes to Cleveland. Kevin Love's future's in the air. Paul Gasol, yeah, he's not the three-point shooter Kevin Love is, but he's a better teammate. So Maybe Cleveland makes a run at Gasol. Maybe someone makes a run at Gasol. The Heat, if they get Dwayne Wade and they couldn't keep Whiteside. Hey, Pau Gasol, Chris Bosh, play center again. You don't give a fuck anyways. So, Pau Gasol. Up next is Dirk Nowitzki, but I think we all know he's staying in Dallas, so there's no point in talking about Nowitzki going anywhere else but Dallas. I know a lot of people are probably saying, where's Harrison Barnes and Dwight Howard? Oh, we get to them later. Chase Oliver's rankings are not fun. They're not like all these other people who like to overrate trash. Chandler Parsons is up next in my ranking. Another Dallas Maverick. He's gone from Dallas. I see him either going to the Portland Trail Blazers or the Los Angeles Lakers. No questions asked.
I can agree with that. I didn't really care where he went. I don't hate him or anything. I just didn't care where he went. Yeah, those are good fits for him. Why not? You can take Obama Munte or Alfred Camino. Over. I like him in Portland. I actually like that idea a little bit better.
Yeah, I think he will fit well with what they want to do with Dame and CJ McCollum. I think with the Lakers, he will do well too. Especially ready to start right away. Up next is the loyal big man, Al Jefferson. He's not doing any nightclubs or anything like that. I honestly don't know where Big Al's going to go. Like, he's a good player, but I don't know where Big Al is going to go.
He's actually a center, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's they drop Al, take him over at Atlanta.
Yeah, maybe he teams up with Paul Millsap again.
Yeah, why not? They're looking for a similar dynamic, and they'd actually have a center this time, and somebody who clearly doesn't mind playing center. So I don't see why not. If you're not going to give Al Horford doesn't. Yeah, he's not Al Horford.
He doesn't play defense anyways.
Yeah, definitely. It's a replacement. You drop Al Horford, and I believe Al Jefferson is slightly younger, if not the same age at least. So yeah, I don't see why not. Why you wouldn't go to Atlanta or something like that.
Up next, we have the center for Chicago, Joakim Noah. I think he's going to go to the Knicks and play with his boy D Rose, or go to Minnesota and play with Tom Thibodeau. Either or.
Yeah, he's going to follow his old Bulls buddies. That's it.
Yeah, he's just going to follow his old Bulls buddies. He's still a good player too. That's why I have him ranked pretty high. Not as I know everyone's going to say you're stupid. You don't have Harrison Barnes or Dwight Howard ranked high. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I actually watched the league very closely and not overrating two players. That shouldn't.
You don't make Draymond Green like the 12th best player in the league.
Yeah. Rajon Rondo is up next. Rajon Rondo did really well in Sacramento. Like, holy shit. Rondo, I think he led the league in assists again. A very, very productive player. And I think he's just going to say, hey, fuck you, Sacramento. I think he already said that, like most people say. And he's going to go on to a new team. Where's Rondo going to go, though? I mean, his little alien-shaped head, his alien ego hasn't really helped him out all that much. Rondo seems like the type of player with Rajon Rondo. I feel like I would love it. The Pacers did not get Jeff Teague. I think I would love him on the Pacers, but I think he's looking for a starting role, and he's burnt a lot of bridges. The Jazz, they traded for George Hill. Maybe they go after Rajon. I don't know. Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks, done with the Michael Carter-Williams experiment, maybe they go for Rajon, but Rajon doesn't really have that many people to pass to that will, make buckets for him. So it's really hard with Rondo, where Rondo's going to go, because you would think of teams that need a point guard. They all got it covered, and it's not like Rondo – from a scoring standpoint, has improved. Like, we all know he's an excellent passer. We all know this guy can be a triple-double whenever he needs it.
And he's burnt the bridges of the other teams that he could have possibly gone to.
Like, honestly, the only team I really see him kind of going to is the Orlando Magic. I think that'd be a decent fit for him, is with the Orlando Magic. Because now with Ibaka and Nikola Vucevic, Alfred Payton, he's miles away from being even close to a scorer. He's a good defender. But with Rondo and the shooters that you have right there with Frank Vogel, I think Rondo might be Orlando Magic jersey. That's my prediction, my guess. Either Orlando or maybe Utah, because even though they got George Hill, I think Rondo would be a better point guard with their team. So one of those two teams getting Rondo would be good.
Hey, man. And I'm just going to be there for contrarian's sake. Maybe he goes to hang out with Jimmy Butler and the Bulls.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he could go to the Bulls. I didn't think of the Bulls there. Alrighty then. Up next, a former Bull player, Luol Deng. What do you think about Luol Deng? Do you think he's gone from Miami, but where do you think he's going to go?
I don't know. Luol Deng he's still a pretty good player. I don't he's pretty decent defensively at least. At the very least, he could put he's on you on all ball defense. Maybe he goes back to the Bulls. I'd like a guy like him. I think he wants to be a starter just because he's been playing starter. So I would say like I'd love a guy for him to go to like the Knicks or something like that, you know. But maybe he goes back to the Bulls because who do they got really at his position? You know, I know they traded him away, but I don't see. Or maybe he does the same thing and follows his Bulls buddies. You know, like he might go Milwaukee because I don't know they got Giannis. No, I don't know. Where do you think?
Luol Deng would be Toronto. I think he would do really well.
That's actually genius.
Like coming off the bench, you know, he's a good 3-point shooter still. He can play good defense against bench players. And I think like Luol Deng, like he understand where he's at in his career. The former All-Star Luol Deng realizes that he's no longer going to be playing All-Star level basketball. And I feel like, you know, with the bench rotation of like Corey Joseph and Luol Deng, that would bring a good defense / firepower for the Toronto Raptors. So I think honestly, him going to Toronto would be a lot better fit than any other team that I can think of off the top of my head. And keep in mind, people, I don't have like a fucking list. All this stuff just comes off the top of my head. And I was just thinking, you know what, Luol Deng in Toronto, that seems like a very good situation.
He's a small forward, and he's a small forward. It wouldn't throw me away to see him over at Golden State, only because they're not going to bring back Barnes. So they're looking for a small forward, or they're at least stalling for time until they can get a better small forward. Because Andre is running up on years, and Harrison Barnes is probably not going to get re-signed for like more than likely. So, but yeah, definitely what you said. The Raptors seem like the best idea I've heard for him. Because he's not going back to the Heat. I don't think so.
Yeah, he's not going back to the Heat. Up next that we have on my list, Jordan Clarkson, the young Lakers point guard / shooting guard, did really well for the Los Angeles Lakers. Surprised people his rookie year, and then his second year just got a little bit better. He's a restricted free agent. He's going to have the highest pay jump out of any player in NBA history. Only making a cool $845K. Now he's going to probably be making $20 million a year. I think he stays with the Los Angeles Lakers. Is he a guy that has big-time star potential? I don't know if Jordan Clarkson has that big-time star potential. I think he's just scoring well because he's on a bad team and there's no one else to fucking score. But I think he's a nice little piece,
Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't sign back with the Lakers. There's no real reason for him to go either. Like they'll do whatever it takes to keep him, only because he's a young guy and he's a nice piece. I see him staying with the Lakers.
Yeah. Up next for me is Bismack Biyombo, who had a terrific run with Toronto. Now he's going to get paid a lot of money. Look, I like Biyombo. I feel like Biyombo has been in the league for ages, but he's only 23 years old and stuff like that. I honestly think Biyombo should just take a pay cut and stay with the Toronto Raptors, because I think him leaving and going to like Milwaukee or Utah or whatever team's looking to pay him big money, that just won't go with him. He won't succeed in that situation. I think he succeeds better staying with the Toronto Raptors. I mean, the Portland Trailblazers, getting him would be cool, but I just see him more as just like, hey, he's a good off-the-bench, efficient energy player more than, hey, he's our starting center.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He needs to just stay. A lot of people need to learn to take cuts, man. Like, there's not a team for him to start on that where you don't see him just getting beat down by other teams, because he's just a really good bench player, like you said. So, yeah, take the pay cut, stay at Toronto. But he'll probably chase the money. So, at that point, I don't know where he goes.
Don't worry, guys. We're almost at Harrison Barnes and Dwight Howard on my list.
Yeah, what is it, like number 30 and number 31?
We're almost. Ryan Anderson is up next. Played for the New Orleans Pelicans. I think he's done with the Pelicans. The Cavaliers had interest in him, but I think he's going to be demanding a little bit more money than going to the Cavaliers. So I don't see him going to the Cavaliers. I honestly see him just going to a bad team. like Phoenix, like going to a team where it's just like, oh, we need a guy who can stretch the floor at the 4 position. That's it.
Yeah, he's destined for Phoenix, maybe the Jazz, something. But not a team that's like he's not going to a team that's going to be doing anything or making any noise. He's also an older guy too. So
The Nuggets could also be another team because they're looking for.
Nuggets need to be looking for. Actually, that's not true. They can. Yeah, Nuggets.
Yeah, so. Nuggets seem like a good option for them. Alrighty then. Up next on my list, we have the young little shooting guard. Used to play for the Golden State Warriors. Now he plays for the Atlanta Hawks. Kent Bazemore. So Kent Bazemore, nice little player. Nice offensive weapon. I don't know where he goes, in all honesty. I hope he just doesn't go to a stupid team. Maybe the Brooklyn Nets sign Kent Bazemore. Oh, we got Bazemore. Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They're
Finally,
they're just trying to make little steps at a time.
2 more players before we get to D12, and actually 3 more players before we get to D12 and Harrison Barnes. Jeff Green. Probably one of the most disappointing potential players in a while, besides Lance Stevenson. You know, everyone thought Jeff Green would break out by now and be a 23-point average guy, but he hasn't broken out yet. He did go with the Clippers. I don't see him staying with the Clippers because I don't think the Clippers are looking to pay him money. I honestly don't know where Jeff Green's going to go to. I mean, maybe he goes back to the Celtics for the LOLs. Maybe he goes to Brooklyn. Maybe he goes to a team that just maybe Toronto tries to get him as a replacement if DeRozan leaves. I don't know where he goes. Jeff Green's like a great mystery.
What position does Jeff Green play again?
Small forward, power forward, shooting guard, whatever position you want him to fucking play.
They'll make him play power forward over in Toronto, or like he's not willing to. I don't think he's a guy willing to accept less money, but he's definitely like somebody they just throw in because they're like, we need somebody here. So yeah, that makes him a mystery. That does. Toronto makes sense though. Well, not makes sense, but it makes sense from a where can we stick him at point? Because you could just make him a small forward.
Yeah. Next up, Jan Mahimi. You know who that is, right? The Pacers big man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said Jan for some. Yeah.
Yeah. Jan Mahimi. That's how you pronounce it.
You say it, but I always forget that it has an I. So I think of his I forget that it's pronounced the way, not like how it's spelled. That's why.
Yeah, it's not Ian Mahimi. It's Jan Mahimi. I think Jan Mahimi, he's definitely a good energy guy. Like not as good as Biyombo. That's why he's lower on my list and stuff like that. When I look at Jan Mahimi, I look at him and I say, maybe Atlanta goes for him as a bench player. Maybe Atlanta. I don't know.
Pacers. I don't.
No, I think the Pacers are
the
fine.
center. No. The Pacers are done with him. But I'm like,
yeah, they have Miles Turner now.
I don't know. He's a center. I don't know.
Yeah, so wait and see on Jan Mahimi. And then finally, before we get to Dwight Howard and Harrison Barnes, Jamal Crawford, 6th man for the LA Clippers. I think the best position for Jamal Crawford goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Straight Shooter says Durant should go to the Celtics if he wants an easy route to the Eastern Conference, or if he wants to win a title, then it's OKC or Golden State. What about San Antonio? You don't think San Antonio can win a title with Kevin Durant? I'm just saying, San Antonio's pretty good.
Yeah. They win one without him, so
yeah, they can win one with them. Yeah, I know they can win one with them. So same can be said with Golden State, but that way he doesn't have to face the Spurs anymore. He can just team up with them. Exactly. Anyways, time for Dwight Howard, former center great. How much do you want the Knicks to have Dwight Howard?
What's lower than 0 that's actually quantifiable?
-2.
-2%. I want him to go to the Knicks. We won't need him, definitely. Like, if we just, for whatever reason, cannot get friggin' Joakim Noah. No, he wants too much money. No, I don't want. He's gonna jack everyone's cap to Orlando.
Yeah. So either Orlando or Atlanta are my only two options for Dwight Howard. In all honesty.
Yeah, I don't want him. He's not a star. Well, he's not a star like how he thinks he is anymore. So he needs to go jack up someone else's cap salary, other than the teams that I like. So go back to Orlando. People keep saying like he's definitely not going back. He'll go back if the money's right.
So, and then Harrison Barnes, after a terrible finals performance and everything like that, he's a good young player. Defensively, he's okay at best. I just think he's massively overrated for what people want to pay him for and what people think of him as. But Harrison Barnes, in all honesty, I either see him staying with Golden State if Golden State can't get the guys they want, or he goes to Philadelphia.
I see him going home to eat a turkey sandwich. That's where I see Harrison Barnes going. I don't care where Harrison Barnes goes. Actually, you know what? Philly makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Because they'll pay him a bunch of money and treat him like a star, even though he's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Straight shooter said, I'm a Mass fan. I don't want the Spurs to get better. I respect them, but that's about it. Well, if you respect them, you would have said that if he wants to win a title, he would have gone to LKC/San Antonio or Golden State. Because you can't disrespect the Spurs like that. You can't say you respect them. Straight shooter says that Harrison Barnes going to Atlanta for some reason. I don't see that. That's disgusting.
No. Why? Why would they wouldn't pay him that much? They'd overpay for Dwight. They wouldn't pay, or Al Jefferson. They wouldn't. They're all about their bigs there.
Mm-hmm. They won't overpay for Harrison Barnes. Now, so there's some other kind of notable names to talk about in this free agency. We're not going to predict where they're going to go because they're not really like that big names. But we got former Linsanity, Jeremy Lin, New York Knicks great Jeremy Lin, right?
I want him to come back.
you want the mohawk with it too?
Yeah, I don't care what haircut he's got. I just want him to come back, so this way we can be like, we got Lin. We just need more marketing. We just market him better.
Yeah. So, Jared Sullinger as well, former number 2 overall pick. Funny enough, to the Atlanta Hawks, Marvin Williams. Zaza Pachulia, who almost made an all-star, almost was voted an all-star starter. Zaza Pachulia was.
Zaza's a great guy. All right, he bought all those floorboards for stadiums.
Yeah, exactly. Evan Fournier, but I think the Magic would keep him. Evan Turner, well, yuck. Young center Festus Ezeli. That's my opinion on Evan Turner. Yuck. Young center Festus Ezeli. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Biyombo, but worse. And not as good as the other centers I ranked ahead of him. Eric Gordon. Would you like Eric Gordon on the Knicks?
No.
You want to want to reunite that great AAU pairing of Derrick Rose and Eric Gordon that used to wreak havoc?
No. They could get someone different.
You'd be better than who the fuck do you have a shooting guard? Because
Follows. Oh yeah, he's gone. Yeah, then yeah, Fafalo's gonna go. Then yeah.
Saying, would you want Aaron Gordon?
I completely forgot about Afalo leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you go Aaron Gordon. Who else? There's no other guard for them to put there other than him, really, or at least that I would like personally. So yeah, that's fine. They can't keep if they really can't keep Afalo. I mean, I don't think Afalo's perfect or anything, but I think he'll want more money.
Yeah, I'll follow. He had a disappointing season this year. That's why I didn't rank him. I think he's a good player. It's just that this season he was very, very disappointing. Didn't play the defense that he's known for. Didn't shoot the 3 ball very well at all this season compared to in seasons past. I mean, I remember, man, this guy could shoot lights out. He was shooting lights out for the Magic and everything like that. Alan Crabb, who was a nice little 3-and-D player. I think he can play. He's a restricted free agent, but I don't know how much Portland's willing to pay up for him. So he's interesting. ISO Joe Johnson. He's looking to sign with the Heat again. Dion Waiters. Dion Waiter. Michael Beasley. Michael Beasley actually had a really good year this year for Houston.
He did, but I'm looking at his picture right now, like a list of the draft guys, and it looks like a mugshot, which I find hilarious. It looks like the mugshot of that like attractive light skinned guy who everyone's like the most attractive criminal ever. That's who he kind of looks like. That's all I can think of.
Former number 2 pick Derek Williams, Ty Lawson's a free agent, David West, Jordan Hill. Who else? There's another big name in this class. Jonas, no, not big name, another guy that's pretty well known with the name. Terrence Jones. Manu Ginobili, I think, is retiring. Deron Williams. Oh, remember Deron Williams when everyone was comparing him to CP3?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, he's the best, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Deron Williams is one of the greatest, man. Like,
yeah,
god
dude,
dang.
He's like the sickest, bro. He's
Matthew
almost as sick as Matt Barnes.
Matthew Dellavedova, Nene, Raymond Felton, Brandon Jennings, Gerald Green, Mario Chalmers, Roy Hibbert, one of the Plumlee brothers, Amari Stoudemire, Josh Smith, Randy Foy, DJ Augustin, Langston Galloway, Leandro Barbosa, and Trevor Booker. So those are other names. And some low-key guys that would be great.
Kevin Martin is up.
Yeah, Kevin Martin,
like
Wesley Johnson. Those are good bench players for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Thomas, I think he can be a decent bench player in the future. For Richard Jefferson, he's going to retire. So, yeah.
Well, he said no. He said no, he's not.
No, so he's going to come back and start. And just because a guy plays good in one series doesn't mean he's going to start a whole season.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to start. I don't know if the Cavs will re-sign him. I think he should just retire, call it quits. He got what he wanted. I mean, of all those guys from the Nets who you wanted to see succeed, he did it. So what is he doing?
Yeah. Straight Shooter says, the only one free agent I'm hoping the Mavs get is Mike Conley. Center should be Horford. If it's Whiteside, I'm going to be okay with it, but he is not the best center free agency. Straight Shooter, I don't know if you know this. Al Horford doesn't want to play center anymore. He has stated that any team that signs him better play him at power forward. He's done playing center. Yeah, I think people realize Al Horford has been miscast for most of his NBA career. The only reason why he was forced to play center was because he's a really good player. But the Hawks also had Josh Smith at that time when Josh Smith was projected to be really, really good. And, you know, Josh Smith pretty much pushed Horford there. And Horford has been saying he wants to be a power forward. And they were going to move him to power forward. But then they signed Paul Millsap, who ended up being really good for them. And so Horford was forced to play center again. So he is not a center. Al Horford doesn't want to be a center straight shooter. He wants to be a power forward. This Timberwolves jersey is an Andrew Wiggins jersey. I know everyone's going to be like, where's your Towns jersey? I'm waiting until the new jerseys come out, like the Nike jerseys and stuff like that for Karl Anthony Towns, or if Timberwolves change their jersey designs this season, which I think they're due for a jersey change soon. So that's why I'm waiting on the Big Cat, getting my Big Cat jersey. But I have an Andrew Wiggins jersey, so I got the Wiggins jersey and stuff like that. So I'm just waiting for a newer version before, because I don't want an old Karl Anthony Towns jersey. Like I'll have I have the old KG jersey right here. Have the old KG jersey right over here. So why should I go get an old Karl Anthony Towns jersey when I can just rock an old Wiggins jersey? Like different jerseys, different strokes. So
yeah,
I ain't gonna go out.
You go pick up some jerseys for some players.
Yeah, I'm just rocking the Wiggins right now. Don't worry, I'm going to get a Big Cat. Why wouldn't I get Big Cat? That's be absolutely ridiculous. Karl Anthony Towns is great. So I'm just waiting until like Minnesota either changes their jersey design, or like when the Nike jerseys come in, I think in a couple of years, get that, or Chris Dunn jersey, depending on who's better. Mostly Karl Anthony Towns, though. Love that guy. I just don't want to get a current, because I just don't want to get another current Minnesota jersey, especially like in the blue or the black, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, LOL, we changed our jersey. It's like, fuck, I wasted $60 for this Karl Anthony Towns jersey that is not the latest and newest, and it pissed me off. So I'm just waiting for the newer jersey designs. And I have a couple sleeve jerseys, but I don't like the Wolves sleeve jerseys that much for me to really rock them. So I have a Paul Pierce sleeve jersey and a Lance Stevenson sleeve jersey. Clippers, baby, they're on sale. Especially Lance Stevenson after he got traded. I was so happy. Lance Stevenson's one of my favorite. Oh, he's a free agent too.
Yeah, he is.
Whoever signed Lance Stevenson, I'll love you, man. Like, I know Lance Stevenson's not a great player. I know he's not like the greatest thing to like. He's not great, but I love watching this guy play. I love watching Lance Stevenson play. It's like a train wreck waiting to happen. You just see him dribbling the ball. He's like fucking going all over the place. And then for whatever reason, he makes a basket. It's great shit. I love this guy.
Yeah, man, he's starting to. Lance Stevenson's reaching the point of like Brian Scalabrine level of like, I want to start memeing this guy. That's how much I like him.
Yeah, I love Lance Stevenson. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Like, he's not gonna be a great player, but I like watching him play. He's awesome. Like when the Clippers traded for him, I was so stoked. I was like, yeah, man, go watch Lance Stevenson more and stuff like that. So I was on cloud nine. I was like, man, got Lance Stevenson. So
yeah,
you know what? I won't even be pissed off if Tom Thibodeau's like, oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're going to sign Lance Stevenson and come off the bench for the Timberwolves. I'll be on cloud nine. I'll be like, oh, come Lance. Yeah. I also love, I think, what 2K was it? 2K14 when he was on the Hornets? Oh, man, yes. I had the greatest franchise ever with Lance Stevenson. Kemba, Lance, and Al Jefferson were amazing for me. It was the greatest thing I've ever played with. And also I got Noah Vonleh and PJ Hairston to actually do what they were supposed to do in real life. So it was amazing. But yeah, if you guys have any NBA questions, we're going to stay on for a little bit longer. Just send us some NBA questions. Talk some NBA with us and, just have a good time. So just send in any more questions. If you guys have any, Generic Minority and I, we're big NBA fans. We also like talking NBA 2K. So if you have any 2K questions, what do you think it's going to be a fun 2K team next year? We can definitely answer that. So yeah.
Oh, I think it's going to be a fun 2K team next year.
Yeah, who do you think is going to be fun with?
Who do I think is going to be fun to play as? Minnesota. They're going to be the most fun to play as. Who do I think people are going to use? Golden State.
Oh, yeah. Golden State and Cleveland are like the number one, number two, depending on what.
Or as quick games if they see you're playing as one of them, if they're not already playing as one of them.
Yeah.
I personally like I like playing as Atlanta because I personally just like the center power forwards, the way they play. I like the way they play. I'm granted not as tall as those kind of guys are, but that's how I played when I played basketball. So I mean, like, I'm all about I respect the big men of the NBA. I respect the post game. Shaq is one of my favorite players of all time. So I don't, and I even though people hate on him all the time, and he's a crazy old man. Charles Barkley is another one of my favorite players of all time. I just like big bullies. I was a big Isaiah Thomas fan growing up because he's just like a little bully. I love bully players. I love a big guy. I respect post game, and I like bullies.
All right. Straight Shooter says, I think Minnesota should get somebody to play the 4 in case they put Anthony Townsend to 5. His name is Gorgie Dang. He's actually pretty good. So I think we're covered there. And we also have another guy. His name is Njama Bajelica. Pretty good, too. So I think the 4 position is fine for us. I'm not worried about the 4 position. I'm worried about who can shoot 3-pointers for us.
Yeah. Straight Shooter asks,
who will be the NBA 2K17 of the Thunder, where the Thunder will win that championship every single time and Durant winning MVP? Now it's changed. I've been playing my GM lately, and Russell Westbrook now wins the MVP, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are unstoppable. So I don't know who's going to be the 2K17 version of the Thunder, where they always just win everything.
I'd actually have to think about that. It's not even, I would say it would be like relative to what happens like in the off season, but it's going to be some team where people are like, what, why is that team? It's because the past few times where I've played, I've had Klay Thompson be the league MVP, but they still don't win. And I had the Milwaukee Bucks win one time and they hadn't changed their roster.
Yeah, you always get that random. There's always like that random team in the East. You're like, how the fuck they made the playoffs? And you go check the roster, and their roster is like the Hawks. Oh my god, they're like consistently always in the finals for me, man. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like after about the second year, the Milwaukee Bucks, they don't change. They get slightly better like internally, but they always somehow wind up. If I'm like, even if I'm playing in my own career, I'm like, why am I playing you guys in the conference finals? Like, you guys beat the Heat and the Cavs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's not Hawks for me. They always beat everyone. I'm like, wow, the Raptors one year made it through, but they couldn't survive. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
No, it's like, what are you doing? I don't know. Funniest team we're going to. I don't know, man. Like, I couldn't tell you who that team would be. It'd probably be some like it'll probably be the Raptors, because
The funniest team I rebuilt was the Brooklyn Nets. You want to hear how I rebuilt them? So I looked at Brook Lopez. I traded him right away because I hate playing with him in 2K. Got CJ McCollum, traded Thaddeus Young for Kevin Love, and then I signed Dwight Howard in free agency because Dwight Howard's great in 2K still. Mm-hmm. And so I had CJ McCollum, Kevin Love, and Dwight Howard. Try to stop that shit. Pick and pop with CJ McCollum and Kevin Love. And then later on, if that was covered, Dwight Howard in the post eating you up.
Yeah, I in 2K my best rebuild probably the Knicks, and I didn't get Derrick Rose. Ricky Rubio actually played for me. I managed to sign him. I considered getting Derrick Rose while I was playing too, and I was like, maybe I'll get Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler. Nope, I wanted to trading my draft picks to get Ricky Rubio because he played for me. Because whatever reason, the season beforehand he did really good. I was like, I guess I'll just get him then, and he wound up winning 4 straight MVPs and getting into the Hall of Fame when I was done with the whole thing. Like, I had Ricky Rubio, Carmelo Anthony, and I don't remember who I signed. Larry Sanders. And Larry Sanders just turned out good for some reason.
Larry Sanders is always on the free agency block, and he's really, really good.
Yeah. So it's like I just had to just rotate in pieces, like young guys. Like, I draft a guy or trade for a dude. Like, I almost never drafted a guy in the first round because I traded away my first round draft pick to get a dude to be on the team.
Like, for me, I don't trust the later, like, 2K17 draft a little bit crazy. But for like the 2K16 drafts, I always get the 2016 draft, and then the 2017 draft I kind of just leave alone. Like, I just do auto-generate rookies and stuff like that because I'm not that big of a college head where I'll know who these players are and what they do and stuff like that until I see them actually playing college. Like, I don't go deep into basketball like I do with football. So, yeah, the smaller sample size. And sometimes when I see these kids ball up in high school, I'm like, yeah, they're balling up in high school. Well, let me see what they do in college. So,
yeah, pretty much.
A whole different story. Yeah, but what team? I don't know if you use different teams or if you're just going to use your Knicks. I'm not going to use the Timberwolves this year because I know overpowered as fuck, and I get bored with rebuilding my teams all the time. But what's the one team you're going to look at the roster and say, you know what? I'm going to rebuild this team. I'm going to have fun with it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll probably have a Timberwolves my GM, but that's not going to be like my main my GM.
My GM, I can't pick the Knicks, so I try to pick the Nets, but I'm going to stay away from New York, and I'm going to find a way to get something good with the Bulls and make them three-peat again without Jimmy Butler. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay, that sounds good. For me, the team that I would probably choose for my GM, if I were to choose a my GM team, I don't know, Denver sounds a little bit interesting, like to kind of rebuild them, or the Bucks, just to see if I can make Thon Maker into a great person.
You're going to make Thon Maker into that, like, one weird, like, auto-generated rookie who winds up, like, after his first season being 99 overall and winning MVP for 7 years straight?
I hate that, dude. I hate that person, man, where it's just like, oh, man, I got a great draft class. I downloaded, like, this 2K. Like, it pissed me off, man, because, like, okay, so 2K14, I had Andrew Wiggins, right? Wiggins was supposed to be, like, this great – was, like, supposed to go 99. He only reached an 88. And the Suns got this small forward who all of a sudden became a 99, and the next year I was like, the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it happened to me all the time.
Straight shooter asks, do you play my career? I'm already a 2-time NBA champion with the Pacers and NBA MVP, All-Star MVP, and 2 times Final MVP. Yeah, I play my career. I'm on the Nets, so it's fun. I won the NBA championship with the Nets, but I kind of got bored with it after a while. I was just kind of like, it's all right. It's not as fun as my career in years past. Like, I was so disappointed with the offseason because, like, the last 2 2Ks, the offseason was lit. It was, like, awesome. You could try to make your own team. This one, there was no offseason. Like, all of a sudden, my guy's on the court acting like an idiot. I was expecting some cut scene or at the GM being like, hey, kid, you're looking to go get some guys you want. Who do you want to play with? That's for, like, Dwight and all these other good players, and nope, didn't happen.
No. I have in my career I played for the Raptors because I'm a small forward, and we are we have not won a champion. I played 3 years and we didn't win, so we always wound up losing, and we lost in game 4. We're the 3-1 team. Like we're down for whatever reason, like 3-1. We come back and then we lose in game 7, and I've lost like that 3 years in a row. I got sick of doing it because for whatever, like obviously DeMar DeRozan can't shoot or anything like that, but it's like for whatever reason, no one can score. For like as soon as I get on the court, everyone forgets how to score. It doesn't matter what kind of badges I got, no one can freaking score. I need to go to the Wolves.
You could have Dimer, you could have everything. It doesn't matter.
You can go if you have all gold badges and upgrade your stats as far as they can go. And for whatever reason, once you play in Hall of Fame, your characters like on your team just go dumb. I think that's a really annoying thing to me in sports games. Like I get that I'm playing on a harder difficulty, but I don't like that. It just makes the CPU not miss and your characters suck. That was really annoying to me in all sports games, especially like Madden. Because I play as the Bills, and I'm like, all right, listen, I know we're not great, but Jesus Christ, come on, man. Like, that's always been my problem. So, like, in 2K, I don't like – people always say I'm lame from, like, I'll play on All-Star, I'll play on Superstar. I hate playing on the Hall of Fame. I'm not Chris Move, man. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I don't play on Hall of Fame either. Like, I play on Hall of Fame for my GM every once in a while if I want a major challenge, but most of the time I play on Superstar. I play on Superstar with, like, different sliders. So it feels better. But anyways, thank you guys for coming in and watching this video. And to end our question, Straight Shooter asked, worst NBA free agent signing of all time. Mine was Ben Gordon, signed with the Pistons for 4 years, $50 million, and he didn't do shit in Detroit. Detroit has another one. His name is Charlie Villanova. Remember that contract? Oh. Villanova got like a freaking like a holy deal and shit. Like, oh god, so
disgusting. I'm sad that guy has like skin cancer, but I still hate him so much.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, as you guys see me taking off my belt because it was fucking bugging me that I was sitting in my work pants during this video. Thank you all for watching this. Generic Minority and I will be back, maybe recapping some free agency in the NBA. We'll definitely have more NBA videos on this channel to bring up some differences. And I also love talking about the NBA and also more NFL videos too. I'll try my best. It just depends on work and everything like that, guys. Anyways, thank you all for watching this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have fun with free agency tomorrow. Peace.